Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, or a Revival, Awakening the God-Killing Spear at the Beginning. Chapter 1, Nanchang High School, Class 1, Grade 3, the classroom was very noisy. The students were all chatting or doing homework, and no one seemed to be listening to the class teacher. However, when the head teacher started talking about tomorrow's events, the atmosphere in the classroom suddenly became tense. Tomorrow is the moment for you to change your destiny. The head teacher's words were heavy and serious. The school will arrange people from the Association of People with Superpowers to awaken your powers. Upon hearing the news, some students began to look confused, and some even began to shake nervously. They know what it means to awaken their powers, and they also know that this is their only chance to become a person with powers. Some of you will find that you have special abilities. The head teacher continued, this will be a turning point in your life, and you must be prepared. Chu Yi leaned back on his chair, his eyes wandering aimlessly in the classroom. It's been 18 years since Transmigrate came here. Time is such a wonderful thing. He took a deep breath, with a determined expression on his face. Are my powers awakened? I wonder what powers I can awaken. Chu Yi's deskmate Zhang Xin raised his eyebrows and smiled. Hey, Chu Yi, as far as I know, with your strength, you should be able to awaken superpowers tomorrow. His voice was brisk and full of expectations, as if looking forward to a wonderful performance. Chu Yi said calmly to Zhang Xin, it depends on the situation. You don't have to be strong to awaken superpowers. Those who want to awaken superpowers above S level are the only ones in a million. Chu Yi, I believe in you. When the time comes, let the people over there who look down on you see how powerful you are. Zhang Xin said with a smile. Chu Yi took a deep look at Zhang Xin, with a flash of determination and confidence in his eyes. He knew that awakening powers above S level was no easy task. Zhang Xin, I am not doing it to let others see how powerful I am, but to realize my dream. Chu Yi's words were full of determination and strength. Zhang Xin asked curiously, Dream, what is your dream? Chu Yi calmly replied, World peace, no war. Zhang Xin looked at Chu Yi and sighed deeply. He said with a helpless expression, World peace is a luxury wish. We live in this world and are fighting against reality every moment. The history of mankind with so much war and conflict, world peace is just a beautiful wish. Chu Yi's eyes were firm and his tone was sonorous and powerful. You were wrong, Zhang Xin. As long as you have strong power, you can realize all your dreams. His words seemed to be a powerful force, full of determination and courage, which made people laugh. Can't help but be convinced. Zhang Xin frowned and asked in confusion, but power is not omnipotent. Some things can only be accomplished with wisdom and skill. Chu Yi smiled and replied, You are right, but strong power allows us to use wisdom and skills more calmly, and even create new possibilities. Imagine if you have strong power, you can easily open a door that was otherwise closed, or even create a path that didn't exist before. Chu Yi paused and continued. So, don't be afraid to pursue power, because it can bring us unlimited possibilities. Zhang Xin couldn't help but fell into deep thought after hearing Chu Yi's words. After school, Chu Yi walked through a narrow street and came to a dilapidated community. The houses here are old, with mottled walls, broken windows, and concrete walls with exposed steel bars that seem to tell the vicissitudes of time. In the community, children are playing in the streets and old people are sitting at the door chatting, creating a peaceful scene. Chu Yi opened the door. The house was spotless and tidy, with a faint fragrance exuding everywhere. Even the houses in this old neighborhood are unique in this dilapidated neighborhood in South City. This is the house of the orphanage. Chu Yi is an orphan who grew up in the Nanchang orphanage. Loneliness and helplessness often flashed in his eyes, because in this world full of danger and unknowns, being an orphan often means being weak and forgotten. He thought of his parents, who most likely left him when the alien beasts invaded. None of this was known, it was just speculation. Chu Yijing sat down and looked at the exercise, Primordial Origin Wujigong, in his mind with a thoughtful look on his face. He whispered to himself, This primordial origin Wujigong was given to me by the old blind man in my previous life. I couldn't do it in my previous life. Cultivation, who knew it would be for me to practice in this life, wonderful, wonderful. According to the old blind man, the primordial origin Wuji Kung Fu is a peerless magical skill that makes you stronger when you encounter strength. Once you successfully practice it, you can increase your strength without any limit, without any upper limit. However, Chu Yi has been practicing primordial origin Wuji Kung hard for 10 years, but still failed to break through the boundaries of the first level. Whenever he tried to break through this barrier, it seemed as if there was an invisible force blocking his way forward, making him feel extremely frustrated and helpless. Since practicing this technique, although he has never been able to break through the first level, every time he practices it, his body will become stronger. Every practice seems to inject new energy into his body, as if it never stops. The end is general. Chu Yi sat cross-legged and started practicing like this. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and immersed himself in the realm of cultivation. His body gradually absorbed the surrounding aura, as if blending into the surrounding world. His body began to tremble slightly, and he felt that his mental strength was constantly increasing. Chu Yi began to feel the connection between his body and mind. He felt that his body was getting stronger and more powerful. Early the next morning, the sun shone through the clouds on the playground of Nanchang High School. A high platform stood in it, with a huge circular formation placed on it. This formation exudes a mysterious and ancient aura, as if it is a prison for awakening supernatural powers. The outline of the formation is clearly visible, intertwined with countless complex runes and patterns, like a beautiful work of art. Under the high platform, a group of students looked at the scene in front of them in amazement. One of the students couldn't help but exclaimed, "Is this the legendary awakening spiritual formation?" His voice was full of excitement and wonder. Another student also praised excitedly, "This is so spectacular. I have never seen such a spectacular formation." On the high platform, several senior members from the Superpowers Association were standing, looking down at the many excited students. Countless students' hearts were surging, and they looked with awe at those with supernatural powers. In their eyes, becoming a person with special abilities means entering the palace of the upper class and becoming a true elite. Wow, it would be great if I could become a person with superpowers. I would have villas, mansions, beautiful cars, and beauties. I would be at the pinnacle of life. A student was immersed in fantasy and couldn't extricate himself. Suddenly, the principal took the microphone, and his deep and steady voice echoed throughout the audience. "Now, I ask all senior high school students to walk into this magic circle one by one to awaken their hidden abilities." As the names were solemnly read out one by one, the senior high school students stepped into the mysterious magic circle one by one, feeling a magical power surge from the soles of their feet and gradually penetrate into the whole body. Some people frowned, as if they had experienced a lot of suffering, while others looked surprised, as if they had gained endless power. However, what is frustrating is that most of the students did not show any special abilities and could only leave sadly, with a feeling of helplessness and loss in their hearts. Grade 3, Class 1, Zheng Xin. The director's voice slowly sounded in the playground, attracting everyone's attention. Following the director's words, Zheng Xin's figure slowly walked into the center of the array. Suddenly, a blazing fire poured down from the sky, instantly illuminating the entire school playground. This is an S-level power. It's actually an elemental fire attribute power. A member from the Power User Association shouted in surprise, his voice full of shock. The fiery aura exuding from Zheng Xin's body makes people involuntarily think of a burning bonfire, warm and fanatical. His eyes shone like flames, as if they would erupt with endless energy at any time. Everyone present was shocked by his momentum, as if a ferocious fire dragon had descended on the world, and no one dared to ignore or despise him at all. Not long after, it was almost time for Chu Yi to awaken his powers. He felt a little uneasy. If he did not awaken his powers, he would be greeted by a life of inaction. At this moment, he was extremely eager to have his own ability. Zheng Xin realized his worries, so he patted his shoulder and said comfortingly, "Don't worry, Chu Yi, even if you fail to awaken your powers, I will protect you in the future." His words full of friendship, Chu Yi felt very grateful. Class 3, Chu Yi. Upon hearing his name, Chu Yi slowly walked towards the magic circle, his heart filled with uneasiness and expectation. He was confused, not knowing if he had special abilities or if it was just an empty joy. A moment later, when he stepped into the magic circle, a black energy suddenly burst out from his body, like a black whirlwind, violently devouring everything around him. This black energy is like a hungry giant beast, ruthlessly devouring light and hope, making the entire scene dark and tense. Chu Yi's body began to lose control gradually, as if there was an unknown force churning in his body. Suddenly, an extremely ferocious killing aura filled the air from his body. In an instant, the entire universe experienced a brief and violent shock. Although the vibration lasted less than a second, it caused an uproar throughout the universe. Countless powerful people hundreds of millions of light years away felt the palpitations of this moment. Chu Yi's eyes shone with a strange light, as beautiful as the twinkling stars. His thinking began to become extremely clear, as if there was a mysterious force guiding him forward. He could feel an unprecedented power surging through him, giving him unlimited possibilities. At this moment, Chu Yi suddenly opened his arms, and a powerful light spurted out from him, as bright as the sun. This light seems to come from a mysterious and unknown world. Its power makes people feel excited and shocked. It illuminates the whole world and drives away the darkness. This is SSS level, a soul-based superpower. It is actually the rare SSS level soul-based superpower of transcendent level. The members of the Superpower Association kept trembling and murmuring. SSS is a legendary level. At this moment, Yanjing City, the office of the principal of Yanjing College. Long Xiao's fingers were tightly clasped on the phone. He looked out the window firmly, his heart full of determination and desire. There is an SSS level superpower awakened in Nanchang City. Long Xiao's voice was firm and powerful. I want you to rush to Nanchang City immediately, handle the matter properly, and let him join our Yanjing College at all costs. Okay, principal, leave it to me. An affirmative answer came from the other end of the phone, and Long Xiao couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. But due to Chu Yi's awakening, the same scene happened in the entire Dragon Kingdom's colleges and universities. At this moment, Chu Yi was holding a heavy gun tightly. The gun body was as dark as night and exuded a strong aura, as if it could swallow everything. His fingers could feel the power of this gun, the god-killing spear. The name was enough to make people tremble with fear. Chu Yi stared deeply at the gun body, as if he could see the long history and endless legends it carried. As for why it is only rated as SSS level, that is because the maximum detection limit of the magic circle is only SSS level. God-killing spear, let's take a look at it, the bosses. Not long after, in the principal's office of South City High School. Classmate Chu Yi, what are your plans for the future? The principal asked with concern. Chu Yi calmly replied, Principal, I don't have any specific plans yet. The principal's keen eyes swept over Chu Yi, and he sighed deeply. You know, classmate Chu Yi, the superpower you possess is enough to make you the most dazzling existence in the entire Dragon Kingdom. Don't you want to? Will you use this God-given talent to its full potential and amaze the whole world? I know, Principal, Chu Yi replied firmly. Okay, I understand what you are thinking, but whether you admit it or not, your ability has become the most important part of your life. It will affect your choices and determine your future. Therefore, I hope you can seriously consider how to choose the future path. The principal smiled and nodded. I will, Principal. I will think carefully and find my own path. Chu Yi was silent for a moment, with a hint of determination in his eyes. The principal nodded and watched Chu Yi leave with satisfaction. He believed that this young genius would be able to find his own direction and create his own glory. Chu Yi returned home, took a deep breath, and sat cross-legged quietly. He gently touched his chest with his hand, and then summoned the god-killing spear from his body. He held the handle of the gun tightly and carefully observed the legendary god-killing gun. Is it a soul-based superpower? This god-killing gun should not be the original body. Is it the product of the soul's embodiment? Chu Yi thought silently in his heart, the most important thing now is to improve the strength. Great Thousand World, no matter where you are, strength is the most important thing, and the law of the jungle is the eternal law. Chu Yi sat cross-legged, closing his eyes and concentrating. He took a deep breath, and then slowly exhaled. His whole body seemed to blend into the surrounding atmosphere. He slowly ran the primordial origin Wuji Kung Fu, feeling the trajectory of a mysterious power flowing through his meridians, eliminating the previous obstacles bit by bit. There seemed to be an invisible force pushing upwards on the top of his head, until finally, he suddenly felt a burst of fresh breath pouring in from the top of his head, flowing through his whole body, and his neck suddenly disappeared. The original body seemed to be reshaped, and every meridian and cell in the body was emitting powerful energy. Feeling this mysterious energy flowing through the body, it was like a stream of clear water washing away all the impurities in Chu Yi's body. Great! Chu Yi was extremely shocked and murmured to himself, I didn't expect that the bottleneck of primordial origin Wujikang, which had been unable to be broken through before, seems to have disappeared since awakening the power. Chu Yi felt that there was a powerful force surging in his body now, and every part of his body was full of vitality. His muscles were tighter and stronger, making him feel like he could lift any heavy object with ease. His mind has also become clearer, his thoughts run faster, and he can even easily handle problems that are usually difficult to solve. This comprehensive improvement made him feel like he was reborn. Chu Yi's confident voice echoed in the air, it's time to go to the wasteland. Now I should be able to hunt some rank 1 beasts. His eyes shone with determination. The wasteland area, as the name suggests, has been in the hundreds of years since the revival of spiritual energy. Alien beasts have been rampant, and the land where humans can survive has been greatly reduced. Chu Yi walked on the bustling streets of Nanchang City, among the noisy flow of people. He was immersed in the bustle of the city, feeling its pulse. The pace gradually quickened, and he moved towards the city gate, every step full of determination and expectation. After a long time, Chu Yi finally arrived at the city gate, stood under the tall city wall, looked up at the heavy city gate, and felt the majesty and history of Nanchang City. Chu Yi continued to walk towards the wasteland area outside the city, and stepped onto the land in the wasteland area. The sand and stones under his feet rattled, and with every step he took, the excitement in his heart continued to rise. There was a strong fighting spirit in his body. This is the territory of alien beasts, but he is not afraid at all. On the contrary, he can't wait to show his strength. His eyes were shining with sharp light, and his heart was full of fighting spirit, excitement. After 18 years of waiting, the excitement in Chu Yi's heart had reached its peak. Let me take a closer look at what you bunch of alien beasts are capable of. He took a deep breath and shouted loudly, alien beasts, wait for my killing. Chu Yi slowly stepped into the wasteland area. In a dense forest, he felt that the atmosphere around him gradually became manic and restless. A howl of a wild wolf pierced the peaceful forest. Chu Yi couldn't help but feel surprised, this is the rank 1 strange beast, the wild wolf. I didn't expect to encounter the strange beast so soon. Chu Yi immediately prepared for the battle, transformed the god-killing spear from his body, and held it tightly in his hand. He stared closely at the wild wolf in front of him, watching its every movement and every breath. But just when Chu Yi was preparing to fight, suddenly more rank 1 wild wolves appeared in the forest, and they gathered together to form a wolf pack. Chu Yi felt troubled because he didn't expect so many rank 1 wolves to suddenly appear. It's not good, this is the rank 1 wild wolf pack. Countless wild wolves surrounded Chu Yi like ghosts in the dark night, staring at him fiercely, as if waiting for the final fatal blow. Chu Yi held the god-killing spear tightly, feeling his muscles tense and sweat falling from his forehead. The wild wolves were getting closer and closer, and their ferocious roars pierced the silent night sky. Chu Yi had no choice but to head forward and rushed towards the wild wolves without fear. The god-killing spear is like a dark king in the hand, exuding a frightening aura, frightening the wild wolves that rarely attack, causing the wild wolves to retreat. Chu Yi's figure shuttled among the wild wolves, sometimes dodging and sometimes counter-attacking, keeping the wild wolves from getting close. This is the result of Chu Yi's practice of primordial origin Wuji Kung Fu. Chu Yi's speed is very fast. So many years of practice are indeed not in vain. But the wild wolves were too large after all, and Chu Yi gradually felt powerless. He knew that this battle had just begun. Gradually, a lot of wounds appeared on Chu Yi's body. Chu Yi had a strong figure and started a bloody battle with the rank 1 wolves with the god-killing spear in his hand. With the continuous fighting, Chu Yi suffered more and more wounds, and blood flowed along his body, forming bright red lines. The rank 1 wolves kept rushing towards him, and he shuttled between them. Every dodge was the key, and every attack was the key to victory or defeat. The god-killing spear pierced the air and made a sharp sound, filling the surrounding air with the smell of blood and death. Chu Yi roared crazily, "Exotic beasts, I will fight with you." The god-killing spear was like a divine dragon in Chu Yi's hand, shining with dark golden light as he waved it. Every time the tip of the spear penetrated the body of the wild wolf, it was accompanied by a scream and splatter of blood, dyeing the wilderness red. In the end, Chu Yi lay on the ground panting, his clothes in tatters and dripping with sweat. There was a mess around him, with the corpses of dozens of rank 1 wolves scattered around him. Although the battle was over, his heart was still full of excitement. After a long time, Chu Yi sat cross-legged, and ran primordial origin Wuji Kung Fu. After the battle just now, Chu Yi's combat experience became even richer. He felt the internal force flowing through his body, constantly strengthening his body. He closed his eyes, felt the breath around him, and exhaled slowly, like a diver in the deep sea, penetrating deep into his heart. His consciousness gradually became clearer, and he felt that every meridian and every pore in his body was constantly sucking in and absorbing the surrounding spiritual energy, as if every part of his body had been strengthened. My strength has increased a little. It seems that every time I practice after a battle, my strength will grow very fast. Chu Yi murmured excitedly, if I keep practicing like this, what level will my strength reach? Woolen cloth. His eyes became firm, as if he had seen his future self, a world full of infinite possibilities. The number of strange beasts is increasing, but Chu Yi is not afraid. As he continued to fight and fight, his combat experience became more and more abundant. Every battle made him calmer and calmer. Holding the god-killing spear in his hand, Chu Yi seemed to be transformed into a god of war existence. His figure shuttled back and forth in the forest, easily killing these rank 1 beasts with every move. There is only fighting in his eyes, crazy fighting and killing. He longs for strength. This wasteland area seemed to have become his home. Chu Yi has been in this wasteland area, fighting, practicing. At this moment, the principal's office of Nanchang High School. Tutors from the 4 colleges of Longguo have arrived. They were wearing the uniforms of their respective colleges and looked serious. The tutor of Yanjing College sat in the center with extraordinary aura, like a towering mountain, majestic and solemn, exuding an awe-inspiring aura. The instructor of Starry Sky Academy was sitting on his left, wearing a sparkling star hat, and his eyes were deep, as if he could see through people's hearts. The instructor of Aries Academy was sitting on his right. He was tall and powerful, with a stern face, exuding a strong fighting spirit. Finally, the instructor of Deep Sea College sat in the farthest position. He was wearing a black school uniform and had a stern face, giving people a mysterious feeling. The tutor of Yanqing College said to the principal of Nanchang High School, "Where is Chu Yi now? This genius is destined for our Yanqing College." The tutor of Aries Academy interrupted, "Why do you want to settle down at Yanjing Academy? You have many talented people at Yanjing Academy, and Chu Yi is no less important." The tutor of Yanjing College had bright eyes and said firmly, "Chu Yi is the genius that our Yanjing College has been looking for. I will not give it to you. Dear tutors of the college, please come back." The principal of Nanchang High School secretly sighed. The instructor of Aries Academy had a gloomy face and an angry tone, "Humph. Chu Yi is a student of my Aries Academy. Our dean will personally accept Chu Yi as his disciple. We have first-class training resources." The instructor of Yanqing College was not shaken by the other party's words, but became more confident. "We at Yanqing College also have first-class educational resources, and we have always attached great importance to the cultivation of talents. We can provide Chu Yi with a better growth environment and a more comprehensive cultivation resources, and we also have a dean at Yanjing College." Just as the two people were arguing and blushing, the voice of the instructor of Starry Sky Academy echoed in the conference room. "Do you treat me like nothing?" There was anger in the words of the instructor of Starry Sky Academy. "Chu Yi should be a student of my Starry Sky Academy. Whatever you can give, our Starry Sky Academy can give it to me." Immediately afterwards, the instructor of Deep Sea College finally spoke. His voice was calm. "Whatever you give, our Deep Sea Academy will give twice as much. Chu Yi, our Deep Sea Academy is going to decide." Every word is clear and powerful, as if to prove to everyone that the Deep Sea Academy is the ultimate winner. The instructors in the college are full of anger at this time. "Let's have a fight. Whoever wins will take Chu Yi away. I, Yanjing Academy, am the strongest. Haha, it's good to fight." The people from the God of War Academy are the least afraid of fighting. It's a good fight. I'll contact my Starry Sky Academy master to come over right now. Haha, you guys are just a bunch of people, always fighting and fighting. We are the representatives of the 4 major supernatural schools. Those who don't know better would think you are barbarians. At this moment, the principal of Nanchang High School raised his hand and tried to calm down the quarrel between the tutors of the major colleges in front of him. He coughed, and then finally said, "Don't make any noise, everyone. Chu Yi can't be contacted now and is missing." Upon hearing the news, everyone was stunned, their eyes widened, and they couldn't believe their ears. The tutors from all major colleges had expressions of surprise on their faces, and they all asked, "What? What is going on?" The principal of Nanchang High School took a deep breath and continued, "It is understood that Chu Yi entered the wasteland. Wasteland, a place filled with a large number of strange beasts, is very dangerous." The tutor of Yanjing College was surprised. "Chu Yi, you have just awakened the SSS level soul power. What exactly have you awakened? You dare to go to the wasteland area just after awakening. You are very brave." After a long time, in the wasteland area on the outskirts of Nanchang City, Chu Yi was holding the god-killing spear tightly, with a dying rank 1 tiger lying under him. The breeze blew, raising sand and dust, whistling past, as if telling him that this was once a prosperous land, but now it was desolate. He raised the god-killing spear in his hand and stabbed the tiger in the heart. In an instant, blood and internal organs were splashed everywhere, and the tiger screamed and gradually lost its breath. Not far away, tutors from the 4 major colleges hurried over, with solemn expressions on their faces. Their eyes were fixed on Chu Yi, as if they wanted to pry out something from him. "Are you Chu Yi?" The voices of the instructors made Chu Yi feel nervous. Chu Yi held the god-killing spear tightly and scanned the 4 mentors with vigilant eyes. The aura emanating from them was powerful, making Chu Yi feel small and powerless. The tutor of Yanjing College said kindly, "Chu Yi, don't be nervous. I am the tutor of Yanjing College. These 3 are tutors of Aries Academy, Starry Sky Academy, and Deep Sea Academy." Chu Yi breathed a sigh of relief. It turned out to be the instructors of the college. Chu Yi had already expected that his awakening of SSS level abilities would definitely attract the attention of these colleges. He did not expect that it would come so quickly. The tutor of Yanjing College was the first to speak. "Chu Yi, come to our Yanjing College after graduation. You will have endless resources for cultivation." The tutor of Yanjing College sounded a little hoarse, but it was full of enthusiasm and temptation. Before he finished speaking, he was interrupted by the instructor of Aries Academy. "Chu Yi, don't listen to him. Our Aries Academy is the place where we really train warriors. I see that you use guns, and I think you are very suitable for us." Aries Academy. The voice of the instructor of Aries Academy was more steady and powerful, as if it could make people feel the powerful aura of their academy. The instructor of Starry Sky Academy said, "Classmate Chu Yi, come to our Starry Sky Academy. Our Starry Sky Academy has the strongest flying beasts, which have the power to dominate the sky." The instructor's voice of Starry Sky Academy is clear and beautiful, as if you are in the vast starry sky in the universe. The instructor of Deep Sea College said calmly, "Student Chu Yi, if you have any ideas or requests, feel free to make them. I can fully agree to your request on behalf of Deep Sea College." Chu Yi naturally has his own ideas. The academy is not suitable for him. He has the skills and strength. Does he still need to go to the academy to play house? With a hint of apology, he said to the instructors of the 4 major colleges, "Seniors, I'm sorry, I don't plan to go to the college. I will join the Night Walker organization." Chu Yi's heart is full of determination. The academy cannot meet his needs. He needs to fight and he likes freedom. The students in the college are just a group of flowers living under the swaddle of the college. Chu Yi announced his decision without hesitation and expressed his apology to the 4 college instructors, and stated that he would join the Nightcrawler organization. Nightcrawler organization. Its mission is to kill alien beasts and protect civilians. The organization is loose internally and is an independent organization, which suits him very well. "Chu Yi, you are a smart young man, we can understand your thoughts." The instructor of Aries Academy smiled and said, "But you need to be aware that the Nightcrawler organization is not an easy path to take. You need to face various dangers. You should come to our Yanjing College. The instructor of Yanjing College looked at Chu Yi seriously, with warning and worry in his voice. The Nightwalker organization is full of dangers, and you will lose your life if you are not careful. Quote. Chu Yi frowned and took a deep breath. His eyes were firm and decisive, as if there was a powerful force supporting him. I will personally destroy all the alien beasts and let this world return to the days of peace. And the Nightcrawler organization is undoubtedly my best choice. His words were filled with endless determination and an unwavering will. The other two college instructors looked at Chu Yi's unwavering attitude and were already amazed in their hearts, so they did not speak to stop him. They sighed deeply and left silently. The tutor of Yanjing College sighed. He slowly stretched out his hand and handed Chu Yi a small piece of paper. This is my SMS number. If you have any difficulties, please contact me at any time. The instructor of Ares Academy patted Chu Yi's shoulder enthusiastically, making him feel a huge force coming through him. With a firm light shining in his eyes, he said boldly, Chu Yi, our God of War Academy welcomes you at any time. This is my text message. If you have a chance in the future, you must come to our God of War Academy. After Chu Yi said a friendly goodbye to several college instructors, he returned to Nanchang City. Nightcrawler Organization, Nanchang Branch. Here is a towering building with various weapons and equipment hanging on the walls, giving people a strong fighting atmosphere. Chu Yi walked into the hall along the corridor and carefully observed the surrounding environment. He saw a young girl standing at the registration desk with a smile on her face. How can I join the Nightwalker organization? Chu Yi asked politely. The girl heard Chu Yi's words and replied with a smile, the Nightwalker organization attaches great importance to strength. If you want to join, you need to pass our assessment. Okay, please take me there. Chu Yi said. The girl took Chu Yi to a testing room. This test room simulates the scene of fighting with alien beasts. It is the only standard for our Nightcrawler organization's assessment. Only those with a combat power of more than 1000 are qualified. The test room has 3 difficulties to choose from: normal, difficult, and nightmare. You can choose 3 different difficulties to challenge yourself. After the girl finished speaking, she slowly stepped aside to make room for Chu Yi. Chu Yi walked into the testing room, full of fighting spirit, and pressed the nightmare level button without hesitation. The test room was closed and dark, and countless virtual beasts rushed towards Chu Yi, but he remained calm and calm. The god-killing spear materialized, and the moment he tightened his grip on the handle of the gun, the cold metallic feeling spread through his fingers, giving him a surge of incomparable confidence. He was agile, avoiding the attacks of the alien beasts, and started a thrilling confrontation with the alien beasts. 3 hours later, a majestic middle-aged man stood outside the testing room. He was tall, muscular, and exuded a powerful aura. He stared at the overly young boy in the testing room, with a hint of surprise and appreciation in his eyes. Is there someone new in the testing room? He said, his voice low and powerful. Very good. He is calm in times of crisis and has strong combat power. Moreover, look at the black spear in his hand, it is a soul-based weapon. Too tired, too tired. The door of the testing room opened, and Chu Yi walked out exhausted, as if he had experienced a thrilling life and death battle. He raised his head and saw a mighty middle-aged man, exuding a powerful aura. Chu Yi's heart moved slightly, he knew that this person was not simple. Who are you? Chu Yi asked, his voice a little hoarse. The middle-aged man smiled slightly, showing his white and neat teeth. I am a member of the Nightcrawler organization, codenamed Black Bear. Chu Yi frowned slightly. Black Bear. Chu Yi also quickly introduced himself. Hello, my name is Chu Yi. Chu Yi, are you interested in joining my team and hunting exotic beasts together? Black Bear said. Chu Yi stood up straight, took a deep look at Black Bear, then smiled slightly and said confidently, Sorry, Uncle Black Bear, I haven't planned to form a team yet. Black Bear nodded helplessly, as if it was a pity that Chu Yi did not join their team, and finally left. Chu Yi asked the young girl again, Have I passed the test? Can I join the Nightcrawler organization? The young girl smiled and said, Of course, please come with me. The young girl took Chu Yi to the top floor of the Nightcrawler building. Chu Yi conducted a series of identity verifications, including facial recognition and identity authentication, to confirm that he was a member of the Nightcrawler organization. Later, he received a mobile phone specially designed for Nightcrawler, which was loaded with various practical functions, such as missions to hunt exotic beasts, as well as an exclusive communication channel between them. The Night Stalker organization is a loose organization. The members of this organization are all stragglers. Some of them are alone, and some form small teams and move quietly. Their goal is to protect innocent people, but their lives are full of loneliness and danger. As night falls, the lights of the city embellish the entire night sky like jewels, shining with countless rays of light. On the street, people hurriedly shuttled back and forth, and vehicles passed by quickly, making noisy noises. Chu-Yi sat at home and looked at the messages on Nightwalker's phone. In the world of superpowers, they are divided into 4 major categories: elemental system, summoning system, physical system, and soul system. Elemental system. Manipulate natural elements, such as wind, fire, water, earth, lightning, etc. Summoning department. Summon strange beings, such as ghosts, monsters and demons, as well as various strange creatures. Flash system. Control your own body, such as changing your body, increasing strength, and transforming into other creatures with super physical fitness. Soul system. The most mysterious power system. When awakened, the awakened person will be given an ability, weapon or skill. In the future, every time the rank 1 is improved, an additional ability will be gained. It is called the most unstable power. Department may be the strongest or the weakest. These categories will be updated at any time. After all, the world is full of wonders, just like his own god-killing spear, which seems to hide a lot of secrets. In the soul system, every time you upgrade to rank 1, a new ability will be unlocked. And my current level is probably only rank 1. If I upgrade to rank 2, I don't know if I will gain additional abilities when I reach rank 2. Chu-Yi thought extremely exciting, this is an invincible rhythm. Continue to look at the content on the phone, Guide to Cultivation of Superpowers. First, absorb spiritual energy, which depends on the power level. When a superpower begins to practice, they need to learn how to absorb spiritual energy, which can be found everywhere, but the higher the level of the superpower, the faster they absorb spiritual energy. They need to inject their mind into the surrounding air in a silent environment, sense the location of the aura, and try to inhale it into the body. Note: Reiki is a special kind of energy. It is not yet possible to explain why Reiki exists. Second, absorb the crystal nuclei of alien beasts to improve the effectiveness of cultivation. Alien beast crystal cores exist in the bodies of alien beasts of rank 2 and above. The higher the level of the crystal core, the better the training effect. People with supernatural powers need to kill and seize the crystal core from the alien beasts. Once the alien beast is killed, the superpower user needs to take out the crystal core as soon as possible and inhale it into the body to improve the efficiency of cultivation. Third, life and death fighting stimulates the potential of the human body. The life and death fight will stimulate the human body's potential and increase the speed of cultivation. When people with superpowers are in danger, their bodies will quickly enter a state of high concentration, allowing them to react beyond ordinary people. In this state, their bodies will also absorb spiritual energy on their own, thereby increasing the speed of cultivation. There was a look of surprise on Chu-Yi's face, and he suddenly realized, so that's it. This is why my cultivation speed is so amazing when I am hunting strange beasts. Chu-Yi was like a sponge thrown into the water, frantically absorbing the knowledge of the superpowers in his mobile phone, constantly exploring the mysteries of the world, and every time he absorbed knowledge, he felt ecstatic. After a long time, Chu-Yi suddenly felt ambitious and prepared to go to the wasteland area again to hunt strange beasts. His eyes shone with perseverance. He took a deep breath and felt the strength in his chest. His whole body seemed to become more energetic. Chu-Yi walked out of the house, and the darkness of late night enveloped the entire city. He walked tirelessly until he passed through the Nanchang area and finally entered a wasteland to the north. Here, there is a smell of decay in the air, with dilapidated houses and gravel everywhere, as if it were an abandoned ruined city. Chu-Yi transformed into a god-killing spear. The god-killing spear in his hand exuded a strong sense of oppression, like a killing king in a weapon. He scanned the surroundings vigilantly. Every inch of land seemed extremely dangerous. Suddenly, Chu-Yi's eyes were drawn to the battlefield in the distance. He saw two supernatural beings hunting a beautiful woman. Chu Yi couldn't help feeling amazed. He hid behind a huge stone slab and silently watched this thrilling battle. Two sinister middle-aged men slowly walked towards Lu Ruyan, with an evil smile on their lips. Lu Ruyan, you little bitch, stop struggling needlessly. Hand over the things, and we can consider sparing your life, otherwise we will rape and then kill, and then rape and then kill. Their voices were full of malice and threats, which made people shudder. Lu Ruyan showed no sign of weakness, her eyes were firm and decisive. You scum of superpowers want something from me. I would rather die than give it to you. Her words revealed a strong unyielding tone, and fighting spirit. When the two men saw Lu Ruyan still unmoved, the smiles on their faces gradually disappeared, replaced by a trace of anger and impatience. Little bitch, don't you understand? It seems we have to do it ourselves. There was a strong threat and murderous intention in their words, which made people shudder. Chu Yi couldn't help but said loudly, stop. You two grown men bullied a weak woman. What a bunch of scum. His voice was full of anger. The sinister man mocked. A rank 1 superpower, do you also want to be a hero and save the beauty? His voice was cold and ruthless, with a hint of disdain and ridicule. Lu Ruyan shouted loudly. Go quickly, my friend, you are no match for them. Chu Yi said to the woman. You don't care if I am their opponent or not, I just don't like these bullies. Woman, shut up, otherwise I won't save you. Come on. Scum, Chu Yi shouted angrily, holding the god-killing spear in his hand, and his body exuded a faint murderous aura. He was like a god of war, facing the pair of bullies in front of him without fear. His eyes seemed to be able to spit out fire like fury, making people afraid to look directly at them. Seeing this, the two insidious men immediately pulled out sharp swords from their waists and slashed hard at Chu Yi. A cold light flashed, and the blade cut through the air, making an ear-piercing scream. Die, you ungrateful boy. Isn't it good for you to keep your nose in other people's business? You must seek death. Chu Yi held the god-killing spear tightly and blocked the knife that cut through the air with a bang. His heart was filled with the passion of fighting. Ha. With this little strength, you still come out to rob a civilian girl. The god-killing spear was like a swimming dragon in his hand, waving the sharp tip of the spear with a dangerous light. Chu Yi's body flexibly avoided the attacks, and at the same time he continued to launch fierce attacks on them. The sinister man said in disbelief, You are just a rank 1 superpower, how can you have such strength? It's not that I have strength, but that you are too weak. Chu Yi's words were full of contempt and provocation, as if he was mocking the two of them for their incompetence. Trash in the empty realm. I don't even want to know your names. Chu Yi's voice suddenly became sharp, piercing the hearts of the two of them like a sharp blade. After the battle, the bodies of two men were scattered on the ground, a tragic scene. Chu Yi stared at the woman, without any expression on his face, and turned around to leave. However, just as he walked away, the woman suddenly raised her head. Why did you save me? Lu Ruyan stared at Chu Yi closely, her eyes full of doubts and confusion. No reason, it's just uneven roads. His voice came from a distance, like a bell reverberating in the air, majestic and indifferent. Lu Ruyan felt the powerful and mysterious aura on Chu Yi's body, and she couldn't help but feel a tremor in her heart. I wonder if there will be another time to meet again. She seemed to see a real hero. Although this person looked cold and ruthless on the surface, he had a strong sense of justice deep in his heart. Ding ding ding. Chu Yi's cell phone suddenly made a crisp sound. Chu Yi took out his cell phone calmly, and the news in front of him made his heart beat wildly. Shocking news was displayed on the phone screen. The western United States was attacked by a wave of alien beasts. The American Federation authorized the use of nuclear weapons. A western city was razed to the ground. Countless civilians were killed instantly under the impact of nuclear weapons. What the United States did was simply inhumane and the tragedy was heartbreaking. A look of indifference appeared on Chu Yi's face, but he cursed in his heart. These guys from the United States are simply crazy. They actually destroyed the city directly. It is simply inhumane. They are not afraid that one day their country will be destroyed. What? It's a pity that Chu Yi is too weak now. If Chu Yi had the strength, he would definitely destroy the United States to ashes. He stepped on the desolate land step by step, facing the raging north wind. As time passed, his steps became more and more determined, and his eyes became more and more resolute. Behind him, he left a string of blood stains, and the corpses of countless strange beasts were scattered on his road. In his hand, he held a blood-stained god-killing gun. The god-killing gun shone with a cold light, like a trail of death. Intimidation danced in his hands. Suddenly, a deafening cry of an alien beast sounded unexpectedly, and Chuyi's heart jumped suddenly. What is this? With such a powerful force, could it be a rank 2 alien beast? Ah! The cry of the strange beast became louder and louder, as if announcing its existence to the whole world, which was awe-inspiring. The huge white tiger suddenly appeared in front of Chuyi like a strong wind. Its body was tall and mighty, and its eyes were wild and ferocious. It seemed like a king from the ancient jungle. It launched an attack on Chuyi. Chuyi's body shook violently. The white tiger was tall, with a mane like snow, and its eyes were fierce and violent. Its sharp claws suddenly grabbed Chuyi, causing a sound of breaking through the air. Chuyi's eyes narrowed, and he was as agile as a falcon dodging the giant tiger's attack. However, under the sharp claws of the evil beast, he could not escape after all. A flash of lightning-like pain instantly spread throughout his body, and the violent trembling made him almost unable to support himself. Bright red blood spurted out, dyeing his white clothes red, like a blooming flower. A mere white tiger dares to hurt me. Chuyi's eyes narrowed. See if I don't stab you to death. Chuyi held the god-killing spear tightly, and he rushed forward suddenly, making a dull sound on the ground under his feet. White tiger didn't show any weakness, his hair stood up, and he rushed towards Chuyi. Ouch, 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 a deafening roar came from his mouth. The two intersected, stirring up gusts of wind and raising pieces of dust, which made people dizzy. After a while, Chuyi was sitting on White Tiger's body. Chuyi clenched White Tiger's mane tightly, feeling its strong struggle. A smile appeared on his face, and Chuyi's fist kept hitting White Tiger's body, bang bang bang, making a dull impact sound that made people shudder. How about being my mount? Otherwise, I'll beat you to death, Chuyi threatened. White Tiger let out a deafening roar, but then obediently prostrated on the ground, as if completely surrendering to his control. Chuyi stroked White Tiger's snow-white hair, laughed and said, "That's right, little darling, I won't treat you badly." White Tiger roared again, as if to say, "Stop fighting, there is nothing else to say." Ha 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 ha, Chuyi shouted with high spirits, his voice full of enthusiasm and pride, "Shall Bai, let's go. All the way north, I want to sweep across the wasteland." White Tiger roared angrily and stepped towards the north. Chuyi sat on White Tiger's back, holding the god-killing spear in his hand. His body was upright, his eyes were bright, and an invisible power emanated from him. As the White Tiger galloped, the surrounding scenery passed by quickly, and the strong wind roared, stirring up yellow sand all over the sky, as if it was going to sweep everything away. Shall Bai, stop, there's something wrong. Chuyi frowned, feeling something was wrong. This is, rank 2 poisonous scorpion, be careful. Chuyi had seen it in the information. This was no ordinary beast, it was a rank 2 poisonous scorpion. Its body is huge and strange, with countless sharp tentacles and spikes, giving off a heart-stopping and dangerous aura. Although the rank 2 poisonous scorpion's combat power is not strong, its poison is deadly at the transcendent level. In battle, its venom will cause extreme pain. Once it is touched, unless it is a high-level superpower, it will definitely die. Shall Bai, let's go. Chuyi's eyes were solemn, and he immediately reminded Shall Bai, be careful not to be attacked by its tentacles, otherwise you will be poisoned to death. White Tiger let out a deafening roar, and rushed towards the rank 2 poison scorpion like a strong wind. Chuyi sat firmly on White Tiger's back, preparing to launch a fatal attack the moment he approached the poisonous scorpion. The poisonous scorpion was not to be outdone. Its body suddenly twisted, and with a loud noise, hiss, hiss, the poisonous scorpion sprayed out a stream of yellow venom, instantly corroding the surrounding vegetation into black. Chuyi raised the god-killing spear in his hand, danced with his hands, and brought up a gust of wind, causing the poison to deviate from the track. White Tiger took the opportunity to jump up and pounce directly on the venomous scorpion's head with its sharp claws, grabbing it hard. Hiss, hiss. The poisonous scorpion let out a scream, its body trembled, and then it fell to the ground. Chu Yi jumped off White Tiger's back and walked towards Poisonous Scorpion's body. Xiao Bai, good job. I give you a thumbs up. He reached out to touch the Poisonous Scorpion's scales, feeling the energy emanating from it, and took out the Poisonous Scorpion crystal core. Is this the crystal core? It is indeed extraordinary. Quote. Chu Yi felt the aura contained in the crystal core. The crystal core extracted from the body of the alien beast must be absorbed in the shortest possible time, otherwise the aura will be lost quickly. No matter so much, Chu Yi sat cross-legged and absorbed the spiritual energy in the crystal core. He closed his eyes and felt the subtle changes inside his body. His breathing became smoother and his heartbeat became more regular. With the operation of primordial origin, he gradually felt the spiritual energy inside his body constantly surging, and every cell seemed to be injected with powerful energy. Finally, when all the spiritual energy was absorbed, Chu Yi opened his eyes. He felt physically stronger and more powerful, and mentally clearer and sharper. He took a deep breath and felt that every cell and every meridian in his body was much stronger than before. Is this the true power of primordial origin Wuji Kung Fu? Chu Yi sighed secretly in his heart. Xiao Bai, why did you eat the poisonous scorpion meat and not leave any for me? Chu Yi said to Xiao Bai. White Tiger roared, forget it, I won't argue with you, a tiger. Chu Yi waved his hand, indicating that it was okay. At this moment, Chu Yi's cell phone rang. Seeing that the call was from Zheng Xin, he answered the call. What's wrong, Zheng Xin, what's the matter? Zheng Xin said excitedly on the other end of the phone. Chu Yi, do you know how popular you are now? Chu Yi said calmly, what's wrong? What happened? Zheng Xin seemed to have taken stimulants and said with great excitement, I heard that you rejected the invitations from the 4 major colleges. Now many powerful people from aristocratic families are asking me for news about you. Then what? Chu Yi's heart moved slightly. He didn't really care about the attention of these powerful people, but he still asked, what do they want? Zheng Xin said teasingly, they want you. I heard that you are an orphan. They want you to be their son-in-law. Ha ha. Chu Yi shook his head slightly and said firmly, reject it for me. I won't go back to school. I plan to give up entering the School of Superpowers. Zheng Xin on the other end of the phone was shocked and said, Chu Yi, don't think too hard. What's wrong with the academy? With your talent, your future prospects are limitless. Chu Yi was silent for a moment. He knew that what Zheng Xin said was not unreasonable, but he still insisted on his own thoughts. I know, but I still want to go on in my own way. Okay, I know you are very persistent, but you must be careful. I have already planned to enter Yanjing College. If you have the chance, you must come to me for a drink. Zheng Xin sighed, expressing regret for Chu Yi's decision. Don't worry, brother, I will definitely come to you for a drink. After hanging up the phone, Chu Yi narrowed his eyes slightly, not knowing what he was thinking. Xiao Bai, let's continue walking north now, let's find a safe place to rest. Chu Yi easily jumped on the back of White Tiger, 1 person and 1 tiger, heading north. They transmigrated the dilapidated ruins, stepped on the overgrown land, and listened to the howling wind. In this desolate place, there are only 2 of them, walking alone. Xiao Bai, stop, just here. Chu Yi signaled to stop. He saw a dilapidated villa standing there, looking particularly lonely. But even so, this was still the only relatively safe place. Xiao Bai lay quietly on the ground, the hair on his body swaying gently with the breeze. In the depths of the long night, Chu Yi leaned exhaustedly against White Tiger's warm body. His eyes were closed tightly, as if he had entered a mysterious dreamland. Waking up, early the next morning. It's great, I feel like I can travel to the end of the world with my sword. Chu Yi shouted excitedly, Xiao Bai, get up. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Xiao Bai roared. In this way, Chu Yi rode Xiao Bai and set off again, passing through the abandoned city. They kept encountering various strange rank 1 beasts, but they never encountered any rank 2 beasts. This made Chu Yi's heart very disappointed. The rank 1 beasts are too weak and pose no threat at all. What's more, they have no crystal cores in their bodies at all, so they have no value worth my energy to hunt. Chu Yi muttered to himself. Suddenly, Xiao Bai's throat let out a deafening roar, as if sending a warning message to the front. There are humans in front, Xiao Bai, let's go take a look. Its eyes were wide open, staring ahead, as if it was discovering something important. Suddenly, 5 people with supernatural powers appeared around them, 4 of them men and 1 woman. They are tall and straight, full of energy and calm, as if they have transformed into a powerful fighting team, ready to join the battle at any time. One of the middle-aged men warned Chuyi, "Don't move, who are you?" When the middle-aged man warned Chuyi, his eyes were as sharp as a blade, and his frown seemed to convey his impatience and alertness. Chuyi couldn't help but feel nervous when he saw the middle-aged man's attitude. He knew that these superpowers were not friendly, but he still used a calm and friendly tone to ease the atmosphere. "Don't be impulsive," his voice was gentle but firm, "I have no ill intentions, I'm just a superpower from Nanchang City." One of the female superpowers sneered disdainfully, "Who can believe that you are from Nanchang City? Nanchang City is more than 100 kilometers away from here. How could you, a rank 1 superpower, get here?" Her voice was sharp. It was harsh, like the tip of a needle pricking the eardrums of others. "This is my student ID card, take it and see it." Chuyi took out his student ID card unhurriedly. One of the leading superpowers looked at Chuyi's student ID card and said in surprise, "You are a student of Nanchang High School. You are actually a high school student." Chuyi smiled faintly and said nonchalantly, "Yes, I am a student of Nanchang High School, but does it matter? Then what's going on with the rank 2 white tiger under you?" The leader of the superpowers couldn't help being surprised, a trace of surprise flashed in his eyes. "You mean Xiaobai, he is my partner. Thanks to Xiaobai along the way, I was able to get here safely." Chuyi said with a smile. "I see, then you come with us." The leading man nodded and said. Immediately afterwards, Chuyi was brought into a dilapidated small city, which was filled with a heavy atmosphere of depression, as if the passage of time had forgotten it in the corner. However, even in such a small city, there are many people with superpowers. They may have come here for some reason, or it may be because the environment here is more suitable for them to use their abilities. However, the civilians here are skinny. Why don't you go to Nanchang City? It's very safe there and there are no troubles from strange beasts. And the civilian life is also very happy. Chuyi couldn't bear to ask. It's not that they don't go to Nanchang City, it's that Nanchang City no longer accepts other outsiders. The middle-aged man said calmly. Why? These people are homeless and have no livelihood, why can't Nanchang City accept them? Chuyi was shocked, his eyes revealed disbelief. Isn't this the basic principle of humanitarianism? Alas, the middle-aged man lamented, looking at the young Chuyi. His tone was a little heavy. You are still a student now, and you don't understand the situation in Nanchang City yet. Since the revival of spiritual energy 100 years ago, the invasion of alien beasts, and the lack of global resources, there are currently only 4 cities left in the Dragon Kingdom: Yanjing City, Dongli City, Chisha City, and Nanchang City. The middle-aged man continued to explain, his tone with a hint of helplessness. Extremely limited resources cannot support such a large population, so these cities will not easily accept outsiders. Chuyi was silent for a moment and sighed deeply. Looking at the appearance of these ordinary people in front of him, his heart was filled with emotion. This world is a ruthless and cruel world that chews every living thing wantonly. In this world, the strong are respected and those with superpowers have infinite power, while ordinary people can only be regarded as insignificant existences and are stepped on like ants, but Chuyi disagrees. He secretly made up his mind to change this situation. Are there any powerful beasts nearby? Chuyi asked. The middle-aged man thought for a moment and then said, yes, the rank 3 beast is a giant python, extremely terrifying. Do you know its whereabouts? Chuyi asked. He needed to know the whereabouts of this rank 3 python. The middle-aged man seemed to see through Chuyi's thoughts. Kid, don't be impulsive. This rank 3 python is not something you, a person with only rank 1 power, can handle. Chuyi couldn't help but think, now that we continue to improve our strength, should we give it a try? He was a little entangled in his heart. This rank 3 python has extremely strong vitality and attack power, and you are only a rank 1 superpower, so you are not enough to pose a threat to it. If you don't want to be swallowed by it, it's best to give up this idea. Middle-aged the man warned. Chuyi didn't seem to listen to the middle-aged man's words at all. He jumped on White Tiger's back and said with high spirits, Xiaobai, let's go. Ouch, ouch, ouch. The white tiger roared loudly, its figure was majestic and domineering, and it walked towards the west with powerful steps. One person and one tiger headed towards the west unprepared. Following the long journey, Chuyi's eyes finally stopped on a mysterious cave. There was a faint blue light coming from the entrance of the cave, as if it was an invitation from the unknown world, leading him into a mysterious realm. Xiaobai, stop. Chuyi raised his head and looked ahead. A deep cave was vaguely visible not far away. How old is this? There are still such ancient caves. Chuyi was confused. When Chuyi stepped into the cave, a damp breath hit his nose, and the air was filled with a thin smell of decay. Looking around, I saw that the cave was flat and open, but upon closer inspection, I saw that the walls were covered with fine cracks and uneven stones. This cave may seem ordinary, but it hides its secrets. It's really not easy to maintain a perfect state in such a harsh environment. Chuyi thought in his mind. Hiss, hiss. Suddenly, a huge spider beast suddenly rushed out of the darkness. Its body was huge enough to cover a person's body, and its tentacles were as hard as steel. Chuyi's heart contracted suddenly, and he quickly transformed into a god-killing spear. In one swing, the tip of the spear turned into a sharp light, cutting off the web spewed by the spider beast. This is the rank 2 spider. Fortunately, it's just an ordinary spider beast. Chuyi held the god-killing spear tightly, his eyes like a torch, and faced the rank 2 spider. His wrist flicked slightly, and a cold light flashed across the tip of the gun. With a loud noise, the tip of the gun hit the spider's hard shell hard, emitting a dazzling spark. Chuyi turned around and the tip of the spear stabbed out, directly penetrating the spider's head. The spider struggled, but finally fell at Chuyi's feet, motionless. Chuyi took out the crystal core from the spider's body, held it tightly, and felt its powerful energy. Hey, isn't this a food delivery? He couldn't wait to absorb the energy in the crystal core. He closed his eyes and felt as if his body was wrapped in waves of heat. Gradually, his body began to glow slightly golden. Light, this is the energy he is absorbing from the crystal core. After a while, Chuyi breathed a sigh of relief. It's wonderful. We are one step closer to breaking through as a rank 2 superpower. Chuyi looked a little excited. It was this feeling, the feeling that was gradually getting stronger. This feeling seemed to be a kind of poison, making him addicted. Xiaobai roared and ran towards the spider beast's body, biting the spider's body and tearing it violently. After a while, the spider's body had been completely devoured by Xiaobai, leaving only a pile of wreckage and a pool of blood. Yes, Xiaobai, from now on this disgusting beast will be left to you, ha 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 ha. Chuyi said with a smile. Chuyi and Xiaobai continued to move deeper into the cave, and a huge stone door appeared in front of them, standing in front of them like a giant. The stone door was covered with moss and vines, and it was obvious that no one had pushed it open for a long time. Approaching the stone gate, they felt an ancient atmosphere, as if the stone gate had existed for thousands of years. Chuyi stretched out his hand and gently touched the stone door, feeling the unevenness and cold touch on the surface of the stone door. Suddenly, Chuyi felt that the stone door was no longer cold, but gradually became warmer. The stone gate is actually changing. Is there a hidden mechanism? Chuyi frowned and whispered. Gently pushing the stone door open, the stone door slowly opened, and what came into view was a dark passage. Chuyi walked into the depths of the passage with firm steps without hesitation. The passage was filled with an ancient atmosphere, as if this place had been forgotten by time for thousands of years. He felt the ancient atmosphere surrounding him, and he couldn't help but feel a sense of awe in his heart. He continued to walk forward for a while, and his eyes suddenly lit up. Deep in the cave, a mysterious altar is vaguely visible. The altar exudes a sacred and mysterious atmosphere, as if gods from a long time ago are staying in it. Chuyi felt that his soul was being called and was irresistibly attracted. It's so strange. It doesn't look like an ancient tomb, nor is it a cave mansion for masters to practice. What on earth is this? Chuyi couldn't help but have some doubts in his heart. In this place, it seems that traces of history can be seen, but compared with modern and ancient civilizations, there are obvious differences here. Mysterious symbols are carved around the altar, which emit a faint green light, making people feel mysterious. Chuyi slowly walked towards the center of the altar and gently stretched out his fingers to touch these mysterious runes. Suddenly, a faint light curtain appeared in front of him, slowly wrapping Chu Yi. The scene in front of Chu Yi suddenly showed a woman with a perfect figure. Her curves were graceful, her skin was as smooth as white jade, and her long hair was elegant and charming. He felt as if he had been transported to another magical world. "Hello, human," said the image, the voice clear and mysterious. "Who are you?" Chu Yi asked. "I'm not a human, I'm an artificial intelligence," the virtual image said. Chu Yi's eyes widened and he carefully looked at the virtual image in front of him, as if it were a real human being. "Are you an artificial intelligence?" Chu Yi was a little shocked. This artificial intelligence is so good-looking. It looks more realistic than perfected being. The virtual image made a sound. "My current appearance is the most perfect appearance in your mind, and I will continue to change according to your thoughts." The image circulated slowly, seeming to show Chu Yi's thoughts. "Where is this place? What is the purpose of your artificial intelligence?" Chu Yi asked with a frown. The virtual image replied, "This is the ruins of civilization." "Relics of civilization," Chu Yi murmured to himself, and then asked curiously, "What kind of civilization once existed here?" "Your ultimate goal is to complete these 3 tests and obtain corresponding rewards. You can also refuse the test." The voice of the virtual image broke his thoughts. "Will you accept the test? After you pass the 3 tests, the doubts in your heart will naturally be revealed." Chu Yi frowned. He didn't understand what these rewards were specifically, but he knew that this was a rare opportunity and the rewards would definitely not be bad. "What is the test specifically?" Chu Yi said. "Everyone's test is unique, are you ready?" The virtual image said. Chu Yi's thoughts were spinning rapidly in his mind like the wind. After a moment, he said without hesitation, "Then let's get started." In an instant, the scene in front of him suddenly changed, and Chu Yi stared at the sudden and magnificent scenery in stunned silence. The dense and mysterious jungle stretched endlessly before his eyes, and the endless trees seemed to submerge him in it. Suddenly, he noticed a strange aura, and his heart trembled. He turned around and saw countless strange beasts rushing towards him from all directions, like rough waves, completely submerging him. "What the hell is this? Are you serious?" Chu Yi was in a panic. He waved the god-killing spear in his hand desperately, trying to repel these invading beasts. However, each blow could only destroy one of them, while other beasts kept coming like endless ants, leaving him unable to deal with them. "What's happening? There must be tens of thousands of strange beasts here. This first test is too deceiving. Is this a test? This is murder." Chu Yi complained loudly, and it was too late to think about it. "So many questions, I have no choice but to fight, this is a test." The god-killing spear in Chu Yi's hand was like a violent storm, fiercely splitting apart one ferocious beast after another. He seemed to transform into a ruthless demon god, waving the sharp blade in his hand wildly, killing them completely. As the battle progressed, Chu Yi seemed to have been immersed in it, forgetting his own existence. He devoted himself wholeheartedly to this single goal, to completely eliminate these strange beasts. Thousands of strange beasts gathered in front of him, but he was not afraid, but became more and more excited. The god-killing spear dances like the wind, and every swing can cut off the body of a strange beast. The entire jungle was filled with the bloody smell of alien beasts, which made people shudder. Chu Yi's figure shuttled among the piles of corpses of strange beasts, like a ferocious devil, with endless killing intent and fanaticism shining in his eyes. He seemed to be an invincible king on the battlefield, and every move caused the entire jungle to tremble. The god-killing spear actually had a hint of fighting with Chu Yi. Under the god-killing spear, tens of thousands of strange beasts gradually fell down and became the trophies of his killing. The entire jungle was stained red with blood, which made people feel frightened and shocked. At this moment, Chu Yi's whole body was covered in blood, and his eyesight gradually returned to clarity. "Did I kill all the strange beasts? It was the god-killing spear that helped me." Chu Yi felt a little incredible. "Congratulations, you passed the first test. Your reward, a space ring." The voice of artificial intelligence sounded again. "This is so amazing. Is this the legendary space ring?" Chu Yi looked at the space ring and gently held the ring in his hand. Feeling its texture and weight, Chu Yi exclaimed excitedly, "This is truly a unique treasure in the world." Chu Yi took a deep breath and carefully examined the space in the ring. In this quiet space, it seems as if time has stopped and everything is frozen in place. However, there is still a faint light in the space, like a lonely star, shining silently in the darkness. Chu Yi noticed that there was an instruction manual inside the ring. He carefully took it out and read it carefully. It clearly states that the space within the space ring is static. However, he also noticed an important detail, that is, the ring must not contain any living creatures, otherwise it will cause damage to the internal space and cause the ring to lose its effectiveness. Chu Yi's heart suddenly shook, and he thought about it with great horror. What is the origin of this relic? It actually has a space ring that can only be found in legends. It is simply unbelievable. Forget it, thinking about it is in vain. All I can do now is pass 3 tests. Artificial intelligence, when will the second test start? Chu Yi said calmly. He couldn't wait to get more rewards. The second test will be conducted in an hour, the voice of artificial intelligence sounded. Is it giving me time to prepare? It's quite humane, very good. Chu Yi couldn't help but guess in his heart. Chu Yi sat cross-legged, took a deep breath of cool breath, and started to run the primordial origin Wuji Kung Fu. A mysterious energy circulated in his body, like an invisible snake snaking around in his body. After the fight just now, his cultivation speed became extremely fast. Suddenly, he felt that the god-killing spear in his body began to restless. Is this a sign that he is about to break through rank 2? Chu Yi was overjoyed. Sure enough, fighting is the best way to practice. His heart was filled with excitement, and he couldn't help but speed up his practice. His body began to tremble slightly, and the surrounding air seemed to become thicker due to the energy in his body. Chu Yi fell into a wonderful state, and he felt as if he had melted into the surrounding environment. His consciousness began to blur, but it was extremely clear. An hour later, Chu Yi still showed no signs of breakthrough, and slowly stood up. At the peak of rank 1, the strength should be much stronger. Please be prepared, the second test is about to begin, the voice of artificial intelligence sounded. Chapter 11. The picture in front of Chu Yi changed again, and he came to a mysterious space in an instant. A tall, mysterious man with a handsome face appeared in front of him. He was wearing a black robe, with thick black hair hanging down on his shoulders like a waterfall. His deep eyes flickered, seemingly hiding endless secrets. Chu Yi couldn't help but feel shocked. How could this person be exactly the same as himself? I am the god-killing spear soul. The mysterious man said calmly, his voice deep and magnetic. Chu Yi, you need to defeat me. Now hearing this mysterious man's explanation, Chu Yi felt a little confused and asked curiously, are you the god-killing spear? Why do you become like this, and you look exactly like me? Soul superpower, to put it simply, I am the soul you awakened. The power you awaken is actually my power. In a certain way, I am actually you. God-killing spear soul said calmly. Boy, I don't mind telling you that my appearance was a complete accident. I was supposed to appear when you were rank 9. It was this civilization relic that woke me up in advance. God-killing spear soul's eyes were sharp and he continued, come on, go ahead. Defeat me and you can master all the abilities of the god-killing spear, and let me tell you, the god-killing spear has a bigger secret, a huge secret. When Chu Yi heard this, his heart was in turmoil. Rank 9 was the realm of the highest known superpower. It seemed that the god-killing spear had hidden secrets. Even this relic could not be opened. However, Chu Yi still said with a firm face, let's advance in advance, come on. Let's fight. Chu Yi transformed into a god-killing spear and attacked the soul of the god-killing spear. The marksmanship is too crude. I am the god-killing spear soul. You are a little too naive to attack me with the god-killing spear. The god-killing spear soul said calmly. Chu Yi frowned slightly. He took a deep breath, and the aura in his body burst out instantly. The god-killing spear in his hand was like a spiritual snake. It instantly turned into shadows of the gun all over the sky, pouring down like the Milky Way, heading straight towards killing God. The spirit of the sharpshooter left. The god-killing spear soul swayed slightly, nimbly dodged Chu Yi's attack, and then used the gun in his hand to resist Chu Yi's attack. With a bang sound, the two people's power was intertwined, and the powerful impact made the entire battlefield tremble. The god-killing spear soul smiled softly and whispered a spell in his mouth. A powerful energy slowly emerged around him, gradually forming a mysterious shield that enveloped his entire body. This shield seemed fragile, but it was extremely tough. Chu Yi's attack had no effect at all. Boy, you are too naive. How can you defeat me with such a weak attack? God-killing spear soul said lightly, his tone full of contempt. Chu Yi held the God-killing spear tightly, dripping with sweat, but his eyes were firm. He gritted his teeth and moved forward step by step. The God-killing spear made a harsh concussive sound, as if it was roaring, issuing a challenge to the soul of the God-killing spear soul. Every attack is merciless, like a continuous storm. Chu Yi's figure is like an unstoppable fighting machine. He has only one belief in his heart, and that is fighting, constant fighting, endless fighting. As time goes by, Chu Yi's attacks become more and more sharp. It's interesting, as expected of someone who can awaken the God-killing spear. With his peak rank of rank 1, he can actually do it to such an extent. The spirit of the God-killing spear laughed loudly. Chu Yi and the God-killing spear soul fought again, and each time they were suppressed by the opponent, but Chu Yi's indomitable fighting will made him become more and more courageous as he fought. Every time, he fought fiercely with the God-killing spear soul. His body seemed to turn into a bolt of lightning, and he instantly counterattacked with astonishing speed and power. God-killing spear soul, since you are a part of me, why are you still going against me? Chu Yi asked. The God-killing spear soul responded calmly, I'm not against you, this is just a trial to see if you are qualified to control me. The God-killing spear soul's offensive intensified like a violent storm, but Chu Yi's face always remained calm and calm. He stared at the God-killing spear soul, his eyes flashing with sharp light, as if he could understand every move of the opponent. His figure is like an invincible arrow, coming and going freely in the attack of the God-killing spear soul, and can easily dodge every time. This is the last blow. If you can block it, I will lose. God-killing spear soul smiled arrogantly. The God-killing spear soul's eyes were piercing, and its body seemed to contain endless killing power. The killing energy turned into the God-killing spear. Chu Yi felt that he was facing not only an opponent, but also a real god of death, the god of killing. Chu Yi gritted his teeth and tensed his muscles as he faced the final blow from the God-killing spear soul. In an instant, the two collided violently, and, bang bang bang. A dazzling light and a deafening explosion burst out in the air. Chu Yi felt that his body was being shaken and kept retreating. At this moment, Chu Yi felt that the primordial origin Wujikang in his body was automatically operating. The blood in his body seemed to be boiling, and there was a strong belief in his heart supporting him. In the end, the God-killing spear soul's attack was withstood by Chu Yi, and they both retreated at the same time. The God-killing spear soul said in surprise, It's very good, you can actually block my attack. The skills you practice are very unsatisfactory. Simple. As soon as he finished speaking, a ray of light suddenly flashed, and he turned into a beam of light and instantly integrated into Chu Yi's body. The voice of artificial intelligence echoed throughout the space again. Congratulations, you passed the second test. The reward. Second source potion. In an instant, a tube of medicine suddenly appeared in Chu Yi's hand, along with a detailed instruction manual. Taking the second source potion activates the second power. These few short words were enough to shock Chu Yi. Second ability. Everyone around the world knows that everyone has only one chance to awaken their powers. The number of people who can awaken supernatural powers is so rare that it is beyond reach, and those with dual powers are like the legendary mythical. However, now this second source potion can activate the second power, which is as incredible as a little hen can fly into the sky. It's incredible, it's simply incredible. The level of this civilization is so high that it's scary. Chu Yi suddenly thought about it and was horrified when he thought about it. Artificial intelligence, when will the third test start? Chu Yi was extremely looking forward to the third test at this moment. Chu Yi opened his mouth excitedly and said in a loud voice. He was waiting for the answer with anticipation. The voice of artificial intelligence came indifferently. The mortality rate of the third test is 99.9999999%. Do you want to participate? It's still too late to leave now. Upon hearing the news, Chu Yi felt his body tremble. Death, life and death are reincarnations. Death leads to life. If there is no death, how can life be valuable? His expression became strange, and his voice suddenly became extraordinarily calm. I have already died once, I'm afraid die. Do you think I, Chu Yi, am scared? Let's start. See how you let me die. This time, the artificial intelligence never appeared again, and the picture suddenly changed. Suddenly, a beam of colorful light flashed out of thin air, like a blazing lightning, directly hitting Chu Yi. He felt like his whole body was being torn apart suddenly, as if he were in a piece of lava, and the severe pain made it difficult for him to breathe. Every inch of skin was twisting, and every nerve was trembling, as if it was about to be completely swallowed by this violent energy. At this moment, Chu Yi felt tremendous physical and mental pressure, as if he was being destroyed by an invisible force. A series of blurry images appeared before his eyes, flashing so fast that he could not identify them. Is that all you have? Didn't you say that you will definitely die? Then bunches of colorful lights hit Chu Yi again and again. Chu Yi felt heroic in his heart and shouted crazily, Chu Yi, you just don't believe it, come and let me die. Even God can't take away my Chu Yi's life. Come on again. Chu Yi roared loudly. His body had been torn apart beyond recognition, but he was not afraid. Colorful beams of light continued to fall, and his body had lost its original outline. The bones were exposed in the bloody place, which made people feel extremely miserable. Chu Yi was lying on the ground, dying, and a deep emotion surged in his heart, as if all the fatigue and pain overwhelmed him at this moment. However, this thought did not make him feel scared or uneasy. Instead, it brought him a wonderful tranquility, as if death was his final destination and his final liberation. He closed his eyes slightly, feeling every cell in his body gradually fall asleep, as if waiting for some kind of wonderful awakening. At this moment, he felt as if he had merged into the entire universe, integrated with nature, and become a part of eternity. How can one live without death? Alas, I haven't married a wife yet. Forget it, that's fine. He took a deep breath and sighed in his heart. Just when Chu Yi was relieved, he suddenly felt an invisible force surging in his body, and the primordial origin Wuji Kung Fu started to operate automatically. This power was like a warm trickle, penetrating into Chu Yi's dying body. As time went by, his body gradually stabilized and the breath of life gradually became stronger. However, this recovery process is extremely slow, and it seems to take about 3 days to fully heal. This is, the primordial origin Wuji Kung Fu actually operates on its own. Is this just putting yourself to death and reviving it? Chu Yi was overjoyed. This technique is simply too wonderful. Good guy, this technique actually saved my life, haha. Ha ha. Congratulations, you passed 3 tests, and you are rewarded, Tree of Origin Seeds. At this moment, the voice of artificial intelligence sounded. Chu Yi looked up and saw the seeds of the Tree of Origin slowly emerging above him. His vision blurred, as if being pulled by a mysterious force and merging with the seeds of the World Tree. An ancient and mysterious energy surged, as if a pair of mysterious hands were guiding him forward. The seeds of the Tree of Origin took root and sprouted in his heart, exuding a rich breath of life. Chu Yi felt this powerful life force and couldn't help but exclaimed, "This life force is too powerful." His body recovered at a speed visible to the naked eye. After only 15 minutes, Chu Yi's originally dilapidated body was restored to its original state. He stood up with a new look on his face. Chu Yi felt very strange. He was full of pure and incomparable vitality. His eyes widened and he said in amazement, "I feel as if I have changed into a brand new body." The scene flickered, as if time had gone back to the moment when he came to the altar. White Tiger Xiaobai is lying quietly outside, like a sculpture, but with a hint of agility. The artificial intelligence phantom was in front of Chu Yi, and he also asked with great curiosity, "Artificial intelligence, can you tell me what civilization relics are here now?" "Of course, this is the ruins of the Atlantis civilization." The artificial intelligence replied mechanically. Atlantis civilization, the legendary Atlantis civilization of the 4th solar era. Chu Yi's expression was incredible. Chu Yi said in great surprise, "Isn't the Atlantis civilization destroyed long ago?" The AI went on to explain. "Yes, the Atlantis civilization has long since disappeared in the long river of history, leaving only us artificial intelligences and the essence of their civilization. At the moment of Atlantis' destruction, that great civilization left us, artificial intelligence, and the essence of their civilization behind. The seed of the Tree of Origin is the core of Atlantean civilization, and only the most powerful warriors of Atlantis can possess it." Chu Yi frowned and asked with confusion, your civilization has been destroyed, what is your purpose now? The AI went on to explain. When the original civilization was destroyed, many artificial intelligences like me were left behind, distributed in every corner of the universe, waiting for the discovery of the next civilization. Our mission is to help the next civilization of humanity. Discover the seeds of the tree of origin. It will bring you surprises. My mission has been completed, and I will never see you again. 3 days later, Chu Yi arranged for Xiaobai to wait in the woods outside the wall of Nanchang City. He returned to Nanchang City alone and walked along the bustling streets. The light of neon lights reflected on the faces of Chu Yi and Zheng Xin, and the lights on the street stalls shone brightly. The two of them sat in a street stall, enjoying the food and wine, their faces glowing with wine, and laughing constantly. The air was filled with the smell of skewered smoke and the aroma of barbecue, which was mouth-watering. Chu Yi, do you know? I am about to set foot on the campus of Yanjing College. I heard that all the senior students there are stunning transcendent-level beauties. Zheng Xin said drunkenly, his words full of excitement and expectation. Chu Yi had a trace of anxiety on his face and helplessness in his eyes, and said seriously, can you talk about something serious and lend me some money? Hey, we don't need to be so open to each other. Let's just say, how much do you need? Zheng Xin responded immediately. Chu Yi stretched out a finger and said without hesitation, 10 million. Zheng Xin said without any consideration, okay, 10 million, right. Chu Yi, don't worry, I'll ask my dad to transfer the money to me right away. Zheng Xin held his head high and showed a confident smile. He reached for his phone, tapped the screen with his fingertips, and started to make a call. Do. Dad, I need 10 million now, can you transfer it to me right away? Call you right away. The other end of the phone said a few more words and then hung up. Not long after, Chu Yi raised his head and looked at his mobile phone, which showed, the bank card has received 10 million yuan. Chu Yi's eyes widened in disbelief and he said in surprise, you said your family has money, but you didn't expect it to be so rich, 10 million. You got it so quickly. Zheng Xin smiled easily and said confidently, yeah, as long as it can be solved with money, it's not a big deal. Zheng Xin, do you really want to go to the academy to practice your supernatural powers? Why don't you follow me to hunt strange beasts? Chu Yi said seriously, with firmness in his voice. Zheng Xin shook his head and said softly, oh, Chu Yi, there is no way my family will agree to my going to the wasteland to hunt monsters. It's too dangerous. Alas, Chu Yi lamented and said calmly, okay, then I wish you good luck, brother. Chu Yi and Zheng Xin were licking their hair and chatting, and the breeze blew by, gently blowing their hair. They chatted quietly and discussed various aspects of life. Every word is full of deep thoughts and insights, as if their thoughts have transcended this busy city. Time flies by. Chu Yi and Zheng Xin say goodbye and go their separate ways. Then, Chu Yi quickly shuttled on the roads in the northern suburbs of Nanchang City without hesitation. The surrounding trees seemed to become his companions, passing by quickly, adding a layer of accelerated dynamics to his actions. Suddenly, Chu Yi's eyes were attracted by a red sports car. It rushed towards a little boy playing innocently on the roadside like a gust of wind. There are such cold-blooded people. Chu Yi's heart ignited with anger, and there was only one thought in his mind. Save that child. Chu Yi suddenly accelerated, the wind roared, and he rushed towards the little boy as fast as lightning. He pushed the little boy away violently, and the red sports car slammed into Chu Yi. There was a loud bang, and Chu Yi was knocked away several meters away, but he was already a rank 2 superpower at this time, and his body was as strong as steel without any damage. The red luxury sports car stopped slowly, the door opened, and a young woman walked out coquettishly. She was wearing a sexy red dress, and her heavily made-up face exuded an aura that made Chu Yi feel sick. Do you know how to drive? Didn't you see a child? Chu Yi frowned and spoke first. What age is it? It's just a child. If you hit him, you'll die. What's the big deal? Why don't you just pay for it? The woman didn't care and mocked directly. Chu Yi frowned, trying his best to hide the anger and dissatisfaction in his heart. He took a deep breath, tried to stay calm, and then slowly said, do you think a person's life can be solved with money? His voice was extremely calm. The woman raised her eyebrows disdainfully, isn't it? A mocking smile appeared at the corner of her mouth. The sarcastic expression on the woman's face became more obvious. Are you talking about that child? What era is it now? The dogs I raise are more useful than this child. Her tone was full of contempt and ridicule. Chu Yi listened to the woman's words, and his heart was filled with endless doubts and grief. His eyes stared into the distance, seeming to be thinking about the absurdity and ruthlessness of this world. All the dogs I raise are more useful than this kid. This sentence echoed over and over in Chu Yi's mind. In an instant, the god-killing spear spun violently, and the evil aura instantly enveloped Chu Yi like a violent storm. Chu Yi's voice became hoarse as a result, as if a demon was whispering from the depths of hell. He stared at the woman in front of him, his eyes full of anger and threats. Do you dare to say it again? The woman confidently said provocatively. You, a superpower, do you still dare to take action? I am an ordinary person, do you dare to touch me? Be careful, I will file a complaint with the Superpower Association. There was a trace of disdain in her eyes. Provocative, as if mocking Chu Yi's weakness. Chu Yi suddenly became furious. For a moment, he was furious. Ah, it hurts. The woman screamed in pain. Her left hand was severely cut off by the sharp edge of the god-killing spear, and blood spattered everywhere. Chu Yi's attack was so fast that the woman couldn't react in time. She yelled crazily, "Ah, my hand. I have to go to the Superpower Association to sue you. My friend is a member of the Superpower Association. Just wait." The woman's voice was sharp and harsh, piercing into someone's heart like a needle. Eardrum. Bitch, are you forcing me to kill and silence you? I kindly remind you that if you don't stop the bleeding now, you will die. Chu Yi stared at the woman with a strange smile on his face, with ruthless indifference in his tone. The woman ran away in a hurry. Finally, she looked back, her eyes full of anger, and said harsh words, "Superpowers. Just wait for me, the Superpowers Association will never let you go, you're..." Ha. For a person like you who regards human life as nothing, I still don't believe that anyone will help you. Chu Yi took a deep breath and whispered to himself. That night, Chu Yi sat quietly on the luxurious sofa, and White Tiger Xiaobai beside him was also lying obediently in the living room. This villa is located in the northern suburbs of Nanchang City, surrounded by tranquility. The reason why he asked Zhang Xin to borrow money was to buy this villa. Xiaobai was so big that he couldn't live in the previous community. This desolate suburb actually cost me more than 9 million. Chu Yi muttered with an exaggerated expression, but the location of this villa is so convenient. It only takes a few minutes to get out of the city. This villa is close to the city wall on the north side of Nanchang City. The distance is only a few hundred meters away. For Chu Yi, it only takes a few minutes to reach the city wall. After climbing over the city wall, he can easily leave Nanchang City. Chu Yi sat cross-legged, the god-killing spear transformed into a cold light in his hand, feeling the powerful evil aura it exuded. Such an evil spirit, it really deserves the name of the god-killing spear. Chu Yi said to himself with an excited expression. After advancing to rank 2, the evil spirit of the god-killing spear is no longer as scattered as before, but becomes purer and more refined. Every time he leveled up, the evil spirit of the god-killing spear seemed to evolve. During the second test, the soul of the god-killing spear once said that as long as he could defeat him, Chu Yi would be able to master all the abilities of the god-killing spear. Could it be that all the abilities of the so-called god-killing spear only refer to the evil spirit? Chu Yi could feel a strange aura hidden in the god-killing spear. This aura seemed not to be evil, but a more powerful force. Is this the evil spirit? However, this evil spirit can continue to corrode the enemy's body and soul. It is simply too scary. Chu Yi looked extremely excited. Is this the legendary thing that kills you by rubbing it, injures you by knocking it? However, now is not the time to pay attention to these. He took out the second source potion from the space ring. Chu Yi sighed in his heart and swallowed it without hesitation. Let me see what powers you can awaken me to. Gradually, Chu Yi felt the temperature of his body begin to rise, as if his whole body was wrapped in a gentle energy. He could feel that every cell in his body seemed to be running at high speed, releasing endless energy. Until countless crystal clear water drops suddenly appeared next to him. They were like living creatures, spinning rapidly around him. These water drops seemed to have their own consciousness. They swim lightly and gracefully, exuding a fresh breath, as if they have washed the entire air. Xiaobai suddenly let out a deafening roar, which seemed to convey a sense of joy, as if White Tiger was celebrating some major victory. This is the elemental system. Water attribute power. Chu Yi looked excited, finally having the second power. This is the treatment of legendary level. He couldn't help laughing and said, Xiaobai, you are happy for me. Ha ha ha. Hurry up and practice. Our strength is still too weak. After Chu Yi finished speaking, he slowly sat cross-legged, and the spiritual energy in the air quickly merged into his body. Suddenly, Chu Yi felt that the spiritual energy in his body began to become extremely violent. What's going on? He felt that the spiritual energy in the air began to gather crazily towards the seeds of the tree of origin, and was attracted by the seeds. Chu Yi shouted in surprise, this seed of the tree of origin is actually robbing the spiritual energy I absorbed. Nearly 90% of the spiritual energy during cultivation has been absorbed by this seed. Wouldn't the cultivation speed be 10 times slower? After calming down and thinking, Chu Yi said to himself in shock, there seems to be another way to feed this seed full. No matter how much it is, just suck it. The boat will straighten out when it reaches the bridge, and continue practicing. Time flies by in Chu Yi's selfless practice. Early the next morning, there was a strong knock on the door of the villa. Chu Yi was practicing when he was suddenly interrupted, which was a bit surprising. I don't have many friends, so who could they be? He frowned, thinking with a hint of displeasure on his face. Then Chu Yi shouted at the door, come in. There was a hint of impatience in his voice, who came to disturb others' practice so early in the morning. With a bang, the door was violently pushed open, and 3 people in uniforms walked in, 2 men and 1 woman, with solemn expressions and sharp eyes scanning everything in the room. It's people from the Superpower Association, they came so fast. Chu Yi narrowed his eyes slightly, guessing in his mind that their appearance did not surprise him. He was just looking at them calmly, waiting for their next move. You, come with us. The leading man looked sharply at Chu Yi, as if he was confirming something, and then said coldly, his voice revealing firmness and majesty. Chu Yi pretended to be confused and said, who are you? Why should I follow you? There was a hint of joking and disdain in his expression. The leading man said impatiently, I am an investigator from the Association of Superpowers. Now please go back and cooperate with our investigation. There was a hint of impatience and urgency in his voice. Investigation. What are you investigating? What did I do? Chu Yi continued, with a trace of confusion in his eyes. The expression on the leader's face became increasingly gloomy, and he continued to say to Chu Yi, you know what you are investigating best. Will you leave? There was a hint of anger and threat in his voice. Chu Yi said teasingly, let's go. Since we are from the Superpowers Association, of course I will go with you, but how do you prove that you are from the Superpowers Association? There was still a hint of joking and laughter in his tone. Disdainful. The clothes we are wearing are proof. The leading man frowned slightly, with a hint of confidence in his expression and a hint of arrogance in his voice. Clothes? What if the clothes you are wearing are fake? Chu Yi said slowly, with a hint of contempt and suspicion in his voice, this cannot be used as proof. False. Don't forget that we are members of the Association of Superpowers, and our identities are absolutely real. The leading man frowned slightly, then showed a disdainful smile. Then the 3 of them looked at each other, took out their IDs, and the leading man said, this is the ID of our investigator of the Association of Superpowers, which can prove our identity. There was a hint of determination and confidence in his voice. It is true that there is the logo of the Association of Superpowers, but I have never seen a real one. Who knows if your IDs are fake? Chu Yi looked at the IDs of the 3 people carefully and said doubtfully. The leading man was furious and stretched his hand to Chu Yi's chest, obviously planning to use coercive measures. Chu Yi was shocked and quickly took a step back, then joked, what are you going to do? I'm a law-abiding citizen. There was a hint of joking in his voice. Boy, are you going to go back with us to investigate? Don't play these little tricks. The leading man said angrily. You can't prove your identity, and I refuse to go back with you to investigate. Chu Yi said calmly, with a hint of determination and disdain in his tone, please come back. If you don't leave, I will sue you for private information. Breaking into a house. The leading man said bitterly to Chu Yi, Boy, how dare you refuse the request of the Superpowers Association? Are you really the Association of Superpowers? Chu Yi had a playful expression, and then he continued in a joking tone, since you so sincerely invite me to investigate, then go ahead. HMPH, let's go. The leader of the men muttered in a low voice, no matter how much time you delay, it will not change the crime you have committed. Huh, what did you just say? After hearing this, Chu Yi's eyes suddenly condensed, his aura suddenly burst out, and an evil aura surrounded him. This evil spirit enveloped the surrounding air, making the air seem to be solidified and making people feel suffocated. The three of them were frightened by Chu Yi's momentum, and the man in the lead said quickly, "It's nothing, I didn't say anything." "Then let's go," Chu Yi said calmly. Chu Yi's heart was filled with contempt for these people, and there was a hint of indifference in his eyes. These people who only bullied the weak were just a group of incompetent people to him. The Association of Superpowers is nothing more than an organization in name only. Then, the three of them took Chu Yi to a spacious interrogation room in the Nanchang Superpowers Association. The interrogation room was spacious and cold, and the surrounding walls were smooth and pale. The dim lights reflected Chu Yi's deep eyes, exuding a heart-stopping chill. Chu Yi sat quietly on the chair, his expression calm, but he could not hide the faint aura of killing on his body. Suddenly, the door of the interrogation room was pushed open, and a middle-aged man with a majestic figure walked in. His eyes were as sharp as steel needles, staring at Chu Yi. "I am Zhang Tianyang, the leader of the investigation team of the Nanchang Superpower Association." After sitting down, he took a deep look at Chu Yi and said in a low and majestic voice, "Did you hurt a woman yesterday? You were reported by her, saying that you cut off someone's hand." Chu Yi's face was expressionless and unmoved, and he said calmly, "Yes, so what? She hit the child with her car, and I didn't kill her on the spot. It was already merciful." Chu Yi's voice was calm and firm, he faced Zhang Tianyang's questioning without flinching. The atmosphere in the interrogation room was solemn and depressing, and the confrontation between the two seemed to trigger an invisible contest. Chu Yi's eyes revealed a firmness that could not be shaken, and his words were full of determination and justice. "Do you still want to kill people in Nanchang City? Boy, you are so courageous." Zhang Tianyang sneered, with a mocking smile on his lips. "I just crippled one of her hands, why are you so excited?" Chu Yi sighed helplessly, "Is that woman your forbidden love? Boy, stop talking nonsense here. Are you afraid now? Aren't you always arrogant?" Zhang Tianyang burst out laughing. "What am I afraid of? Am I afraid of you?" Chu Yi spread his hands and said nonchalantly, "Don't be ridiculous. People like you who only act under the pretext of personal hatred are not worth being afraid of. I'm just sitting here, what can you do to me? Boy, this is the first time I've seen such an arrogant person like you." Zhang Tianyang became angry instantly, and his fist was like a bomb, instantly releasing unparalleled power, as if to tear the air, and hit Chu Yi directly in the chest. "And go. Go to hell, you arrogant boy." Zhang Tianyang roared through gritted teeth. However, Chu Yi remained motionless, sitting there and enduring Zhang Tianyang's punch. Suddenly, Zhang Tianyang's fist seemed to hit a pool of water, and Chu Yi's figure turned into a pool of water and disappeared without a trace. "This is elemental power." Zhang Tianyang was furious, his eyes full of resentment, and he suddenly realized and shouted, "You arrogant boy, I will tear you into pieces." At this time, Chu Yi had arrived at the wasteland area outside the city. "Xiao Bai, when do you think those people will discover my water body?" Chu Yi said with a proud face and a hearty laugh. Xiao Bai roared in response. Chu Yi continued to say with a smile, "Forget it, it's useless to tell you. This is one of the 36 strategies of our hometown." Suddenly, Chu Yi felt that his clone had been killed. "Hey, the guys from the Superpower Association really want to kill me. It seems that I can't go back to Nanchang City." He thought heartbrokenly, but it was a pity that the villa he just bought was with borrowed money. "Forget it, the boat will go straight when it reaches the bridge." However, Chu Yi quickly cheered up, "Xiao Bai, let's head north, we won't go back this time, ha 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 ha." Chu Yi held White Tiger's mane tightly, rode on it, and galloped away in the wasteland area. Ha ha, the big rock rises with the wind in one day and soars up to 90,000 miles. The wind roared in his ears, and a wave of blood boiled in his chest. Xiao Bai, if you encounter a strange beast, just go to it. Today I am going to kill him. Not long after, Chu Yi arrived at the forest ahead and saw a group of supernatural beings hunting a strange beast. They were strong, holding various weapons in their hands, and fought fiercely with this rank 3 brown bear. This alien beast is huge and strong, with thick fur and strong limbs, and fights back without showing any signs of weakness. However, the leader turned out to be a tall woman, her long hair falling like a waterfall on her shoulders, slightly curled. Her eyes were shining like stars, so deep and distant that people dared not look directly into them. Kill this rank 3 brown bear quickly. This rank 3 brown bear has lost its strength. The slightly raised corners of her mouth seemed to be smiling, but it was not quite a smile, and she shouted loudly. A group of superpowers rushed toward the brown bear beast without fear of life or death. They each used their own superpowers to hit the beast like meteors. The brown bear does not show weakness, and can easily destroy a person with powers with one palm, but they are still fearless and move forward bravely, vowing to defeat this brown bear beast. Chu Yi was confused at this moment. Why should he use this human sea tactic to hunt strange beasts? Riding Xiao Bai, holding the god-killing spear, the rank 3 brown bear rushed forward. The wind roared, the tiger's hooves stamped on the ground, and the tiger's vigorous posture reminded people of a mythical beast in mythical. And the god-killing spear seemed to become sharper in his hand, exuding a frightening aura. Die! White Tiger roared loudly as he flew into the sky on Chu Yi. He rushed straight towards the rank 3 brown bear. Suddenly, the surrounding superpowers looked at the mighty and domineering Chu Yi and fell silent. Who is it that killed the rank 3 brown bear so easily? The leading woman narrowed her eyes slightly, seeming to be thinking about something, confused in her heart. Chu Yi's mood became a little embarrassed. He gently raised his hand and touched the back of his head with a sheepish smile on his face. Haha, I'm sorry. In a moment of excitement, I snatched your prey, he said sheepishly. My name is Ji Yu Hanjiang. The leading woman introduced herself elegantly, with a mysterious charm in her voice that made people want to explore the story behind her. Chu Yi guessed in his heart that the identity of this lady might not be simple, and she should be a famous superpower in this area. This little brother is very handsome and powerful. He must have an extraordinary background, right? Ji Yu Hanjiang's eyes glanced at Chu Yi with a touch of admiration. Miss Hanjiang, this Chu Yi is just a commoner. Chu Yi replied calmly, his tone full of calm confidence and calmness. Miss Hanjiang, I'll give you this crystal core. After all, it was the rank 3 brown bear you discovered first. Chu Yi never felt ashamed of his ordinary identity, but instead showed an extraordinary temperament and perseverance. Chu Yi gently stroked the crystal core, as if he could feel the power it contained. When he handed it to Ji Yu Hanjiang, a trace of indifference flashed in his eyes, showing his inner tolerance and generosity. Thank you, brother Chu Yi. I wonder where you plan to go now? Ji Yu Hanjiang asked curiously. I want to level the wasteland. Bring new order to this land. Chu Yi puffed up his chest and swore loudly in the direction of the wasteland in the distance. Haha, fool. A fool can't have such a strong strength. Is he a powerful fool? Ji Yu Hanjiang couldn't help but widen his eyes, and doubts surged in his heart. However, she still smiled at Chu Yi and said, Come on, brother Chu Yi, we still have some things to deal with, so we have to go ahead. When Ji Yu Hanjiang glanced at a group of superpowers, her eyes were piercing, as if she could peek into their inner secrets through their souls. Let's go, everyone, she shouted, standing among them. When the superpowers heard Ji Yu Hanjiang's cry, they seemed to have aroused an invisible force. They turned around in unison, followed Ji Yu Hanjiang's footsteps, and walked towards Nanchang City. Their postures are straight and firm, and every step exudes confidence and determination. Chu Yi looked at Ji Yu Hanjiang's back and felt a sense of admiration in his heart. It was really not easy for a woman to do so in the wasteland. He jumped lightly onto Xiao Bai's back, feeling the wind whistling behind him. At this moment, he seemed to be in the free sky. Xiao Bai galloped like a gust of wind, with the sound of hoofbeats like thunder. Chu Yi sat quietly on Xiao Bai's back, his face slightly red from the wind. Xiao Bai, let those alien beasts see how powerful we are. Closing his eyes, he felt the whistling of the wind. The stimulation and pleasure made him feel more excited, as if he had surpassed the bondage of the world flies into endless freedom. At this moment, Zhang Tianyang was sitting at the desk in the office of the Nanchang Superpowers Association. Various rare superpower items are hung on the walls, such as fiery red scales, shining crystal balls and mysterious herbs that emit bursts of green light. At this time, the door was gently pushed open, and a young girl walked in. She was wearing a black tights, with thick black hair hanging around her shoulders. This is a new member of the investigation team of the Nanchang Superpower Association. Her name is Li Shuier. Zhang Tianyang raised his head, his eyes showed his appreciation and expectation for Li Shuier, and he smiled and said to Li Shuier, "You are here, I just have a task that I want to give you. This man's name is Chu Yi, go kill him." Zhang Tianyang took out a photo of Chu Yi and threw it into Li Shuier's hands. As the first mission to kill someone, Li Shuier looked at Chu Yi's photo and listened to what Zhang Tianyang said, feeling a little confused. She looked up at Zhang Tianyang and asked doubtfully, "Why do you want to kill this person? This is your mission. Don't ask why. It's not good if you know too much about some things." Zhang Tianyang frowned and said without any doubt, "Okay, you go and perform the mission." Li Shuier's hands were tightly clenched into fists, and her nails dug into her palms, leaving slight marks. She felt sweat pouring out of her palms and dripping onto the ground, as uncontrollable as the confusion and fear in her heart. The moment she walked out of the office, Li Shuier felt the oppression and heaviness in the air. Her steps became slow, as if she needed to overcome inner resistance with every step. In the wasteland area, Chu Yi was surrounded by all kinds of strange beasts at this moment, including roaring rank 1 beasts and cunning and strange rank 2 beasts. Those roaring rank 1 beasts were full of wild pressure, but in front of Chu Yi, they could only become victims of the god-killing spear in his hand. The shadow of the gun flickered, and the roars of the alien beasts turned into sharp screams. With screams, they fell down and turned into bloody wrecks. And those cunning and strange rank 2 beasts did not dare to approach Chu Yi easily. They were agile and flexible, and seemed to be able to feel the murderous aura emanating from Chu Yi. However, such vigilance cannot change the final fate of these strange beasts. Chu Yi's god-killing spear pierced the air, bringing up a black light, as if black lightning split the blue sky. Rank 2 beasts fell down one after another, their blood stained the earth red, and a rain of blood flew across the sky. Chu Yi's heartbeat accelerated, his blood boiled, and he felt an indescribable pleasure. There was no mercy in Chu Yi's heart, he only knew that he wanted to become the strongest existence. His figure shuttled among the corpses of strange beasts, as mysterious and ruthless as a ghost. "It's really great. My cultivation speed has become much faster," Chu Yi whispered to himself, feeling his progress. Every battle is an opportunity for him to grow, and every victory is his motivation to move forward. His eyes shone with determination, and he believed that he would eventually be able to reach the top and become a truly strong man. Suddenly, a group of supernatural beings emerged from the darkness, appearing quietly like ghosts in the night, with cunning and ferocity in their eyes. The masks on their faces concealed their true faces, leaving only their cold and ruthless eyes, which were attacking him directly. Chu Yi was already alert. He held the god-killing spear tightly in his hand and rushed forward without hesitation. His eyes showed determination. Energy collided with energy, forming dazzling rays of light. Bang bang bang. The roar of guns and cannons was as deafening as thunder, and the battle scene was extremely fierce. Chu Yi has a strong body and can dodge the enemy's attacks as nimbly as a cheetah. Every movement he makes is full of power and speed. Xiaobai was guarding beside him. Its body was shining with white light, like a white lightning. It cooperated with Chu Yi to form an insurmountable line of defense. Chu Yi's eyes flashed with cold light. He stared at the superpowers holding cannons, his eyes revealing endless killing intent. He waved the god-killing spear in his hand without fear, and every swing carried incomparable power. Behind him, White Tiger roared, his voice shaking the entire battlefield like thunder. Its body was like a white lightning, rushing towards those with superpowers, as if it was going to crush them into powder. "Xiaobai, come together and kill those with cannons," Chu Yi shouted. White Tiger heard the master's order and let out a mighty roar, as if it was going to shake the whole world. Its body was like a white whirlwind, and it quickly rushed towards the superpowers holding cannons, extremely ferocious. Come on, kill this person. This person has crystal nuclei and treasures in his body. The leader of the superpowers shouted, his voice full of greed and desire, and his eyes revealed endless desire. When Chu Yi heard this, a sneer flashed between his eyebrows, and his vigilance deepened. He knew how precious the crystal core on his body was. How could he give it to these sneak attackers? In front of his eyes, enemies were coming like a tide, and he faced them without fear, determined to defeat them all. Suddenly, the people following him attacked Chu Yi more and more crazily. While fighting fiercely with the enemy, Chu Yi asked, "Who are you and why are you attacking me?" "Why, ha ha ha, of course it's to seize your treasure." The leader of the superpowers laughed and said. Chu Yi clenched the god-killing spear in his hand, feeling the enemy's ridicule and disdain. His eyes were locked on the leader of the superpowers, and he saw the sinister smile on his face and the arrogance in his eyes. "Have you ever thought about how you will die?" Anger rose in Chu Yi's heart, and he said coldly. Chu Yi's figure flew in the strong wind, and he rushed towards the leader of the superpower like a violent wind attack. A heavy blow fell, with a loud bang, and smoke flying everywhere. "Everyone stop, otherwise, your leader will die here," Chu Yi shouted as the leader of the superpowers was subdued instantly. Everyone stopped what they were doing, and their passionate fighting spirit was instantly suppressed. "Let our leader go." A group of people roared and rushed towards Chu Yi, their voices loud and powerful. Chu Yi stood still, facing the roars of these people. He frowned slightly and silently thought about how to deal with them. "Let our leader go." A tall man stood at the front with his hands clenched into fists. "So many of you came to kill one of me, and now you want me to let your leader go. Are you stupid, or am I stupid?" Chu Yi narrowed his eyes and said playfully. "Let my boss go. If you have the ability, go find my boss's boss." The middle-aged man's eyes were full of anger and determination. He clenched his fist tightly and pointed at the tip of Chu Yi's nose, with a hint of laughter in his voice. With a vicious breath, Chu Yi was amused by the middle-aged man's words. A contemptuous smile appeared on the corner of his mouth, and his eyes were filled with cynical light. "Do you have a boss? Then who is your boss's boss?" His words full of ridicule and disdain, as if mocking the other person's ignorance. When the middle-aged man heard Chu Yi's taunt, he frowned and replied viciously, "I don't know who our boss's boss is, but I know our boss's boss is very powerful." There was a kind of awe in his voice. And Zongcheng, as if telling Chu Yi that their boss's boss is an existence that cannot be underestimated. "This person talks like a tongue twister, so let's ask the person in front of me." Chu Yi stared closely at the middle-aged leader in front of him, his eyes sharp, like a ferocious beast watching its prey. "Who is your boss?" Chu Yi asked without fear. "Ha ha, you'd better let me go. My boss is the master of this area." The middle-aged man smiled proudly and said confidently. Chu Yi frowned slightly, sneered, and said to Xiaobai beside him, "Xiaobai, eat this guy for me, don't think it's dirty." There was a coldness and ruthlessness in his tone, which made people can't help but a chill in my heart. Xiaobai immediately let out a deafening roar, like a roar coming from the depths of hell. It opened its bloody mouth, and its fangs flashed with a heart-stopping cold light. Like a hungry wolf, it pounced on the leading man, full of killing intent and ferocity. In an instant, the middle-aged man felt suffocated, and he quickly begged for mercy in a low voice, "No, no, no, I say. My boss is Qin Tianju." His voice was full of fear and despair. Facing Xiaobai's fierce offensive, the long-hidden secret had to be revealed. "Do you think your boss is a transformer?" When Chu Yi heard these words, he managed to hold back his smile and said easily, "Repay Qin Tianju, and I will return Megatron." "Who is Megatron?" the leading man asked with a puzzled look on his face. "You don't need to understand this. Okay, take me to see your boss." Chu Yi smiled lightly. Okay, I'll take you to see our boss." The leading man nodded nervously, looking respectful. Later, the leading man took Chu Yi and Xiaobai to an abandoned building. The exterior walls of the building were stained by the erosion of the years, like the wrinkles on the face of an elderly man, which were deeply drawn. The vicissitudes and bitterness of the years. Once inside the building, the shadows cast by the dim lights dance across the empty space like apparitions of ghosts. Chu Yi glanced around the building, and the graffiti and cracks on the walls seemed to tell stories of the past. You have lived in this dilapidated place for so long, and you can still maintain order and rules. Chu Yi made a confused voice, his tone revealing doubts about their ability to survive. Yes, although we are in this dilapidated environment, we have worked hard to build our own way of life. The leading man saw Chu Yi's doubts, and his eyes showed determination and pride. We have to do it every day patrol to ensure safety. Chu Yi looked around and saw that the interior of the building was in dilapidated condition, the corners were filled with garbage and debris, and every glass door was smashed to pieces. He couldn't help but frown, feeling that this place was deserted, and he didn't know how these people survived in such an environment. We have lived here for a long time and have established our own rules and order. The leader spoke slowly. Although this place looks a little shabby, we have everything we need. The man turned his head, looked at Chu Yi, and continued to explain, we have a group of superpowers who all have special abilities. We have weapons, we can protect ourselves, and we have enough food and medical equipment to survive. And, here, we can live freely without being bound by anyone. He pointed around and said proudly. Okay, let's talk about your boss. Chu Yi asked curiously. The leading man pointed upstairs and said with great pride, our boss is upstairs. Chu Yi smiled slightly and said calmly, okay, you can leave. I will go up to see him myself. Suddenly, a huge young man walked down. His figure was like a hill, attracting attention. His tall body makes him stand out in the crowd, like a towering mountain, attracting everyone's attention. He walked towards Xiaoqi and asked curiously, Xiaoqi, who is this? His voice was steady and powerful, full of curiosity and doubt, as if he was full of strong interest in the stranger in front of him. His eyes were sharp and lively, revealing an aura that could not be ignored. Are you Qin Tianju? Your men surrounded me and killed me. Should I settle this debt with you? Chu Yi said playfully, with a hint of contempt and provocation in his tone. There was a cold light in his eyes, revealing the strong confidence deep in his heart. You want to settle a score with me? Come on then. Qin Tianju also smiled mysteriously, and his fat body trembled. There was an air of fighting spirit and challenge in his voice, as if he was confidently waiting for Chu Yi's challenge. Although his steps were steady and slow, he exuded a majesty and power that could not be ignored. Come out, dog-beating stick. Qin Tianju roared, and an iron rod flashing with cold light appeared in his hand, like a divine weapon descended from heaven, which was jaw-dropping. Ruyi Golden Cudgel, Chu Yi said in surprise, and he suddenly became very interested in Qin Tianju's identity. Qin Tianju was stunned and asked doubtfully, Ruyi Golden Cudgel. How do you know Ruyi Golden Cudgel? Are you also? I guessed it. Let me see your strength. Chu Yi looked at Qin Tianju as if he were a fool and laughed. God-killing spear. The God-killing spear appeared in Chu Yi's hand. In an instant, the air around him seemed to be shrouded in an evil spirit, making people feel a strong sense of oppression. The appearance of the God-killing spear seemed to bring a mysterious power. Chu Yi's eyes flashed with sharp light. He clenched the spear without hesitation, feeling the coolness from the handle. Evil energy gathered around him, exuding a chilling aura. Qin Tianju held the Ruyi Golden Cudgel in his hand and walked clumsily, but he was agile and easily avoided Chu Yi's attack. Qin Tianju's body is huge and fat, but his movements are extremely flexible, and every dodge seems effortless. He turned around quickly, letting Chu Yi's spear pass by, showing unexpected agility and flexibility. The two started a fierce fight. Ding, ding, ding. The God-killing spear and the Ruyi Golden Cudgel were intertwined, making a harsh metal collision sound. The battle lasted for an hour. In the end, Chu Yi became even more powerful. He sometimes rushed forward, sometimes retreated, sometimes dodged to the left, sometimes dodged to the right, pressing down on Qin Tianju, leaving Qin Tianju unable to fight back. Why are you such a bad guy? Chu Yi's words were like sharp arrows, and he said to Qin Tianju strangely, the Ruyi Golden Cudgel is such a waste in your hands. Qin Tianju was so stimulated by Chu Yi's words that he couldn't help shouting to stop. He said with an aggrieved look, Stop, 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 stop fighting, we are all fellow countrymen, there is no need to be so cruel. There was a trace of helplessness and begging for mercy in his voice, obviously not I am willing to continue fighting with Chu Yi. Chu Yi said calmly, Did you send people to kill me? There was a hint of indifference and suspicion in his tone, as if he was wary of Qin Tianju. Qin Tianju argued aggrievedly. No, absolutely not. They just recognized me as the boss. I didn't assign them to do such a thing. His words were full of grievance and helplessness, as if he wanted to explain his innocence clearly. Qin Tianju suddenly changed the subject and asked curiously, "Speak, did you also transmigrate?" "Brother, how did you transmigrate?" There was a trace of curiosity and envy in his voice, and he had a strong interest in Chu Yi's transmigrate ability. Interest. Chu Yi replied calmly, "Young man, it's not good to know too much, do you understand?" There was a hint of warning and advice in his tone, which seemed to remind Qin Tianju not to explore too much about transmigrate. Qin Tianju immediately understood what Chu Yi meant, and he quickly said, I know, I won't ask any more. Boss, what level are you at now?" There was a hint of admiration in his voice, and he had great confidence in Chu Yi's strength. "Ah," Chu Yi said casually. "Just call me Chu Yi, rank 2, what's wrong?" There was a hint of calmness and confidence in his tone, making no secret of his own strength. Qin Tianju was stunned instantly. His eyes widened and he shouted in disbelief, "Ah, Brother Chu, why are you so strong in rank 2? I'm already rank 4, and I can't beat you at all." The voice was full of shock and exclamation, and he felt unbelievable at Chu Yi's strength. "That's because you are too good, not because I am strong." Chu Yi responded seriously. Qin Tianju's eyes twinkled with excitement, and he shouted excitedly, "Brother Chu, you are too strong. I have never seen a strong man like you in this wasteland for so many years. I am an invincible figure in the world." His voice was full of admiration and adoration. Chu Yi calmly said to Qin Tianju, "Okay, tell your men to leave. I have something to ask you." There was a hint of indifference and determination in his tone, which made people dare not go against his wishes. "Did you hear that? Get out of here." Qin Tianju's voice was deafening. When the younger brothers heard his words, they immediately fled the scene like frightened rabbits, leaving an emptiness and silence. Chu Yi showed a proud smile and said to Qin Tianju, "Okay, your men have left. Now I have some questions to ask you." His voice was low and powerful, as if with an undoubted majesty. People dare not feel the slightest contempt. "Ask, Brother Chu, you will be my eldest brother from now on." Qin Tianju's fat body trembled with excitement, he patted his chest and said with great pride. Chu Yi frowned, his eyes revealing doubts about what Qin Tianju said. He looked at Qin Tianju's face quietly and asked curiously, "Have you been staying in the wasteland area? As a transmigrator, you actually awakened with the Ruyi Golden Cudgel, how can we become the king of this small place?" "It's really hard to describe this matter, Brother Chu." Qin Tianju sighed, seeming to recall the heartbreaking past. "I was actually born in Yanjing City, and later my parents were killed. There was a mysterious organization that wanted to win over me and let me go to the Dragon Kingdom to be a spy, but I resolutely refused." His voice was low and hoarse, as if it was carrying endless pain and sorrow, seeping into every word. "Since then, they have begun to hunt me down and sent many supernatural beings to hunt me down. According to my observation, these people should be from the Japanese country. I suspect that my parents were also killed by them." Chu Yi was deeply immersed in thinking. His eyes revealed a solemn and profound meaning, as if he was thinking about a major decision. He stared forward, as if he was having a conversation with his heart. For a moment, the surrounding voices became inaudible. Chu Yi said to Qin Tianju, "Then what do you have in mind? For example, to destroy the Japanese country?" "Brother Chu, you really dare to say that? Could it be that, Brother Chu, you were an angry youth in your previous life?" Qin Tianju couldn't help but make a shocked sound after hearing Chu Yi's words. Chu Yi's eyes were firm and resolute, as if his eyes were burning with blazing fire, and a smile bloomed on his face, but with a hint of indifference and determination. "In the past life, the Japanese invaded our territory and killed our compatriots. They have become our sworn enemies." Chu Yi's answer was like a sharp sword, directly inserted into Qin Tianju's heart, making him unable to help but feel moved. In this life, history is shockingly repeating itself. Chu Yi's words were full of anger and passion. After hearing Chu Yi's words, Qin Tianju couldn't help but feel admiration in his heart. He looked at Chu Yi, his eyes gradually revealed a hint of firmness and determination. Qin Tianju knew deeply that the person next to him was by no means an ordinary person. He was silent for a while and then slowly said, Brother Chu, I know what you mean, but after all, the Japanese country is a country with strong strength. It may be difficult for one person to defeat them. Chu Yi pondered and frowned slightly. His face revealed a firm confidence. In his eyes, the Japanese country was not invincible. No, you are wrong. This world is different from the past. There is spiritual energy here and we can practice. The spiritual energy in this world made him believe that as long as the strength is strong enough, nothing is impossible. Chu Yi pondered for a while and said, as long as the strength reaches a certain level, it is not difficult to destroy a country. Yes, after all, this is not the original world, alas. Qin Tianju nodded and said after thinking for a moment. A man should kill the Japanese without mercy, and his eternal destiny is all in killing the Japanese. Chu Yi stared at Qin Tianju, his eyes shone with a trace of wisdom, and his words revealed his firm belief in killing the Japanese, and decisive will. The strong evil aura exuding from Chu Yi's body made people feel a powerful and terrifying force. His figure appeared taller and more powerful under the evil aura, like a demon descending from the depths of hell. In him, the determination and will to kill the Japanese are as blazing as a burning flame, which is difficult to ignore. His eyes were like scarlet blood, revealing murderous intent and contempt that made people dare not look directly into them. Qin Tianju, your strength here has stagnated. Come with me to the depths of the wasteland. I guarantee you that our strength will be greatly improved. Those eyes are like abyss, swallowing everything. Courage and hope. At that time, I will help you completely eliminate the Japanese country. Qin Tianju took a deep breath, his eyes shining with determination. Okay, I believe you, Brother Chu. His voice was full of determination and firmness, like a thunderbolt shining in the darkness. Time passed slowly, and one day later, there was a layer of mist floating in the sky, and the hazy light shone on Chu Yi and Qin Tianju, reflecting their silhouettes. They marched side by side, Xiaobai faithfully following behind them, a bond of trust connecting them. Qin Tianju's body continued to tremble, like a rolling mountain, and his anxious eyes kept scanning around. Brother Chu, how long have we been walking here, why haven't we seen a strange beast yet? He muttered, his voice revealing his eager anticipation for the strange beast. Chu Yi smiled slightly and looked into the distance with deep eyes. Don't worry, it's just ahead. There seems to be movement there. He answered Qin Tianju's question confidently, as if he had seen through the future development. Qin Tianju, what kind of power have you awakened? Chu Yi asked curiously about the status of Qin Tianju's power awakening. Qin Tianju said proudly, I am an awakened SSS level soul system. I don't know much about it. I can just use it as a weapon. Chu Yi raised his eyebrows in surprise, very surprised by Qin Tianju's awakening. He knew that SSS level powers were very rare, which made Qin Tianju's powers even more precious. Chu Yi asked in surprise, didn't you say that SSS level powers are very rare? Hey, Brother Chu, who are you looking down on? However, Qin Tianju did not admit defeat, raised the corners of his mouth slightly, and said confidently, I am also a Rui Golden Cudgel, so giving me an SSS level is not too much. Quote, Brother Chu, look, there is a strange beast ahead. Suddenly, Qin Tianju's voice sounded nervously. Chu Yi also immediately turned his head to look, a trace of vigilance flashing in his eyes. Let's hide for a while and wait and see what happens. Chu Yi decided to hide temporarily to avoid attracting the attention of the strange beast. In this dangerous alien territory, the two made eye contact and tacitly decided on their next move. They knew that once they attracted the attention of these two giant crocodiles, the consequences would be disastrous, so they carefully hid behind a huge stone slab to cover their presence as much as possible. In front of them were two huge crocodile beasts. Their ferocious bodies were entangled together. They had been fighting fiercely for a long time. Behind the huge stone slab, they held their breath and stared at the scene in front of them. Two huge crocodile beasts, like two mountain peaks, with ferocious faces full of ferocity. They were entangled together, and each impact made the ground tremble. Their scales and claws intertwined, and blood splattered everywhere. Ouch, 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 they let out waves of cruel moans. During the battle, the bodies of the two huge crocodile beasts were covered with thick scales, shining with a terrifying light. Ouch! The pupils of these two strange beasts were full of wildness and anger, as if they were fighting for life and death. Brother Chu, This is a rank 4 beast, an existence with a rank 4 crystal core. Qin Tianju asked Chu Yi in a low voice. He pointed at the two huge crocodile beasts, his tone full of worry and excitement. Shish, of course you have to wait for the opportunity. Didn't you notice there were other people around? Chu Yi frowned and responded in a low voice. Qin Tianju suddenly understood and stopped making any sound, watching the surrounding situation and waiting for the right moment. I saw two rank 4 crocodiles fighting fiercely, leaving each other scarred and bloody. But at this moment, a graceful female with supernatural powers floated over. A very strong light condensed in her hand. The light was as bright as the sun, making people afraid to look directly at it. Her eyes were firm, revealing a decisive will, as if she had made up her mind to end this cruel battle. There was no fear in her eyes, only perseverance and determination. Blade of Light. Her voice was low and powerful, with a hint of majesty and determination. As she shouted, the light converged into a sharp blade in her hand, slashing directly at the rank 4 crocodile's head. The two rank 4 crocodiles keenly sensed the woman's attack. They quickly dodged and moved flexibly. Their movements are agile and swift, as if they have long been accustomed to the rhythm of life and death struggle. Suddenly, the two rank 4 crocodiles converged into a surging force. Their attack was fierce, pointing directly at the woman. The woman's skills are strong and sharp, and she can fight back quickly and accurately like a cheetah. Chu Yi and Qin Tianju were observing quietly behind the stone slab. Qin Tianju suddenly frowned, his eyes full of hesitation and anxiety, while Chu Yi's eyes flickered. He thought for a moment before speaking slowly, the voice is deep and powerful. Don't worry, when you go out alone later, I will take action in time if something happens. There was a thoughtfulness and confidence in his eyes. The woman was fighting two rank 4 crocodiles. Her skills were flexible and accurate, but gradually she began to feel powerless. Sweat dripped from her forehead and mixed with blood, which was horrible to watch. There was a bloody wound on her arm, and bright red blood kept gushing out, but she had no time to take care of it. The two rank 4 crocodiles opened their huge mouths, exposed their sharp teeth, and rushed towards the woman, as if to tear her to pieces. Fear and despair flashed in the woman's eyes, but she did not give up. She knew that only by persisting could she have a chance of survival. Fat man, go and save her now, Chu Yi said calmly to Qin Tianju. This sentence was like a warning bell, causing Qin Tianju to come back to his senses instantly. He jumped out from behind, and a ruby golden hoop suddenly appeared in his hand, shining with golden light, and he roared. Take a stick from me, Lao Zu. Immediately, the ruby golden cudgel turned into an extremely huge stick and slammed towards the two rank 4 crocodiles. A strong energy burst out in the air instantly, and with a bang, the giant stick hit the two rank 4 crocodiles hard. There was a loud bang, and a deafening impact. Smoke and dust spread like clouds and dispersed in the air, making it difficult to see the scene ahead. With Qin Tianju's blow, two huge rank 4 crocodiles were knocked to the ground, groaning and struggling, dying. The woman's eyes widened in surprise, her gaze never leaving Qin Tianju. So fat, how can I be so fat? The woman couldn't help but exclaimed. These words were like a sharp sword, piercing Qin Tianju's heart directly. He felt that his dignity had been trampled on, as if he had been treated as a joke. His face turned red, and he almost spit out a mouthful of old blood. He tried hard to control his emotions, trembling with his fat body, and said to the woman, Hey, how can you speak as a woman? What's wrong with being fat? Eat. Do you have rice? There was a hint of helplessness and grievance in his voice, but more of it was determination and confidence. He is not ashamed of his size, on the contrary, he is willing to use actions to prove his worth. An awkward smile appeared on the woman's face, and she tried her best to hide her inner confusion. Her slightly furrowed brow revealed her doubts and worries, and she said softly, My name is Sao Lexuan, what is my name for this fat guy? Qin Tianju walked towards Sao Lexuan with heavy steps. His body was swaying, and his fat body seemed likely to collapse at any time. He said confidently, I am Qin Tianju, and I am nicknamed Yiju Qingtian. The voice was loud and powerful, as if it could shake the entire forest. Sao Lexuan was speechless. She felt that her thoughts were in chaos and she didn't know how to respond. She could only smile awkwardly, and then said, Thank you for saving me. Her voice was a little low, with a hint of uneasiness. However, at this moment, a person with superpowers rushed towards Sao Lexuan from a distance. He exuded a powerful aura that made people feel heart-stopping. Sao Lexuan's heart tightened. She took a deep breath and tried to calm down, but her palms were already covered in cold sweat. She tried hard to stay calm, her eyes were firm, and she was ready to deal with the coming danger. Ha 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 ha, Sao Lexuan, I finally found you, the traitor. The superpower sneered, and their eyes shone with a cold light that made people shudder. Who the hell are you? Qin Tianju raised his heavy body, his brows furrowed, his eyes revealing disdain and determination towards the enemy. The superpower laughed and said, there is a fat man here. Ha ha ha, Sao Lexuan, is this the helper you were looking for? You made me laugh. There was ridicule and contempt in his voice, as if he didn't take Qin Tianju's strength seriously. Sao Lexuan faced the enemy's ridicule, her eyes were calm and firm. You will not succeed. We will defeat you. Her voice was full of determination and courage. When Qin Tianju heard others calling him a fat man, he immediately became unhappy. His face darkened, a flash of disdain and anger flashed in his eyes, and his body shook slightly. He stepped forward and walked towards the person who said the evil words without fear. You skinny guy, say it again if you have the guts. He clenched his big hands into fists, his knuckles turning slightly white, revealing the anger in his heart, and he cursed at this superpower. This guy's name is Zhang Tianlin. He is a famous villain in the wasteland. It is said that he is very powerful and may have reached the level of a rank 5 superpower. Sao Lexuan whispered to Qin Tianju. Qin Tianju was stunned for a moment, then showed a provocative smile. He narrowed his eyes as if he was thinking about something, and a confident light gradually bloomed on his face. Rank 5, is rank 5 great? Do you dare to take a blow from your grandpa Zhu? Qin Tianju instantly transformed into a ruyi golden cudgel. The body of the stick shone brightly, exuding frightening power. He held the golden cudgel steadily, his body was as straight as a mountain, and he was imposing. His eyes were fixed on Zhang Tianlin, as if he wanted to beat him to death with a stick. However, at this moment, Chu Yi's figure was like an eagle, elegant and agile, and his eyes were shining with sharp light, as if he could see everything. His appearance instantly made the whole scene tense. Brother Chu, why did you come out? Qin Tianju asked doubtfully. Fat man and this beauty, please step back. This person is not simple. Let me deal with him and practice my skills. Chu Yi said seriously, his words revealing a sense of confidence and determination. Ha, who are you? How dare you practice with me? Are you tired of living? Zhang Tianlin was furious and mocked. Chu Yi responded disdainfully. Villains die from talking too much, you know. Let's do it. His tone revealed a coldness, which made people very interested in his strength. He transformed into a god-killing gun, and the gun in his hand shone brightly in the sun, like a black divine dragon streaking through the air. God-killing spear technique. The first style, do not use hidden dragon. With a tall and majestic figure, showing an unparalleled strength and majesty, he rushed towards Zhang Tianlin without fear. The body rotated in the air, and the tip of the spear in his hand was like a black lightning, approaching Zhang Tianlin with great accuracy. At this moment, his heart was as calm as water, showing his calmness and composure in battle. Zhang Tianlin suddenly felt a sting. He frowned slightly, his eyes revealed a hint of solemnity, and he closed his eyes tightly. His breathing gradually stabilized, and the boiling power in his body began to slowly subside. At that moment, Zhang Tianlin's eyes were as sharp as a knife, like a ray of cold light cutting through the dark night sky, and he let out a low roar without hesitation. Strengthened the whole body. As he roared, a majestic momentum burst out from him. The muscles swelled instantly, and the clothes burst instantly, revealing the full muscles, as if they turned into an indestructible fortress, blocking Chu Yi. His speed increased instantly, and he was like a fast-moving leopard, easily dodging the attack of Chu Yi's god-killing spear. Chu Yi's eyes narrowed. He did not expect Zhang Tianlin to have such a powerful force, but he would not shrink back, but became even more excited, because only such an opponent could bring him a real challenge. I didn't expect it to be a physical superpower, but that's it for you. Chu Yi sneered, and the god-killing spear in his hand glowed with cold light. He stretched out his hand, and countless guns formed by water condensation appeared around him, and they quickly rushed toward Zhang Tianlin like fish in the water. Zhang Tianlin nimbly dodged the water gun attack, and his body was as agile as a cat. His speed increased to the extreme, making it difficult to predict. The moment Zhang Tianlin was dodging the attack, he suddenly felt a powerful aura coming from behind. He subconsciously turned around and saw Chu Yi, holding the god-killing spear, rushing towards him like lightning. The spear cut through the air and made a shrill whistle. Zhang Tianlin was on guard, his eyes sharp as a blade, and he concentrated on meeting the blow. The shadow of the gun passed by him, causing a stinging feeling, as if his skin had been lightly scratched by a sharp blade. Zhang Tianlin's heart tightened, and he realized that Chu Yi's attack contained endless murderous intent. This time, he understood that to defeat Chu Yi, he must go all out and not relax at all. Chu Yi's eyes were as cold as ice, but these few words contained endless threats and determination. That's it. His tone was cold, and his eyes showed an unquestionable majesty. Then it depends on whether you have the strength. Zhang Tianlin responded through gritted teeth, his tone full of provocation and disdain. I don't know if I have the ability, but killing you is enough. Chu Yi's lips curled up into a sneer, and he sneered. In an instant, Zhang Tianlin's body was trembling, and the pain from the wound pushed him to the edge of despair. What did you do to me? Zhang Tianlin shouted loudly. Haha, it's nothing, it's just a little evil spirit injected into it. Chu Yi chuckled, his tone contemptuous and mocking. Zhang Tianlin suddenly fell into panic, his breathing became rapid, and the pain from the wound seemed to be getting worse, like an invisible hand slowly eroding his body. Fear flashed past, and Zhang Tianlin asked in a trembling voice, what is the evil spirit? Chu Yi smiled faintly, with a hint of cunning flashing in his eyes. You must have started to feel it, right? There was a hint of pride in his eyes. Zhang Tianlin's heart felt cold. He suddenly remembered that Chu Yi's fingers had touched his wound just now, and a trace of anger flashed on his face. You were poisoned. His voice was full of anger. It's not poison. Do you know what evil spirit is? Chu Yi corrected him without taking it seriously. His face became paler and his voice trembled. Is this evil energy your power? Aren't you a water attribute power? His voice was full of confusion and fear. An incredible idea suddenly appeared in Zhang Tianlin's mind. Are you a person with dual powers? His voice was filled with disbelief and shock. How can there be people with dual powers in this world? It's absolutely impossible. Zhang Tianlin's face was full of disbelief, and his voice was full of inability to accept reality. Chu Yi narrowed his eyes slightly and said with a hint of disdain, you know too much. Forget it, you are going to die anyway. There was a kind of indifference and disregard in his tone. My brother is Zhang Tianyang, the leader of the investigation team of the Superpower Association, and he will never let you go. Zhang Tianlin threatened angrily. Chu Yi sneered, with an arrogant smile on his lips. Oh, Zhang Tianyang's younger brother. Then he should die. His tone revealed contempt and disdain for Zhang Tianyang. Zhang Tianlin raised his head in disbelief, his eyes shining with disbelief, and his voice revealed a hint of trembling. You actually ignored the Association of Superpowers. His voice seemed to be blown away by the wind, full of helplessness and shock. Chu Yi frowned slightly and approached Zhang Tianlin's ear. His voice was low and firm. A playful smile appeared on the corner of his mouth, revealing his disdain for the Association of Superpowers. Do you think the Superpowers Association is a godlike existence? In my eyes, they are just a group of self-righteous ants. Chu Yi's eyes flashed with a fighting spirit, as if he was challenging the entire world. And he didn't take him seriously. Don't think that because your brother is Zhang Tianyang, you can threaten me. After you die, give your brother a message. I, Chu Yi, will kill him sooner or later. Zhang Tianlin supported his tired body and felt a powerful evil spirit eroding his body. The energy in his whole body was surging like fire, but he still could not resist the powerful evil spirit. His face was distorted and his eyes were filled with endless emotions. Fear. No, don't. He held on stiffly, but in the end he inevitably lowered his eyes. Zhang Tianlin's eyes were blurred and weak, and he fell to the ground with eyes fixed. Chu Yi was caught off guard and felt an astonishing force surge in his body. His body trembled suddenly, and a trace of surprise flashed in his eyes. He felt the evil energy contained in that power, flowing through his blood like rolling fire, like an awakened ferocious beast, quietly waking up. With the surge of evil energy, Chuyi's body seemed to be integrated into this power. He could feel that every inch of his skin was wrapped in evil spirit, as if he was bathed in a dark ocean. However, what surprised him even more was that this evil spirit was actually integrated with the characteristics of spiritual energy, like a turbulent sea of energy, filling his body with an unprecedented feeling. Chuyi's heart was shocked. He could feel that the seeds of the tree of origin were also devouring the evil spirit containing spiritual energy. His heart was full of curiosity and expectation, because he knew that this change meant that the tree of origin was gradually growing stronger. He could feel the vast sea-like vitality in the seeds of the tree of origin, infusing every one of his blood vessels. Chuyi was amazed. He couldn't imagine that the evil spirit could swallow up the energy in the body of a superpower. The fusion of this power made him feel as if his body was melting into a strange energy. This means that he can kill other people with superpowers to gain their power. Is this the new ability of the God-killing spear? Devouring power. Brother Chu, you are so amazing. Being able to defeat a rank 5 superpower is really amazing. Qin Tianju said to Chuyi with a smile. Hello, I am Cao Lexuan. Cao Lexuan introduced herself to Chuyi with a smile. Hello, I'm Chuyi. Chuyi's calm voice revealed a sense of confidence and calmness. Qin Tianju shook his fat body and said excitedly, let's take out the rank 4 crystal core first. This is a good thing. Chuyi smiled and nodded to Qin Tianju. Rank 4 crystal core is a good thing. However, he suddenly had an idea and felt that it was necessary to ask Cao Lexuan for some advice. He realized that this woman's identity must not be simple. Why are there rank 5 superpowers chasing her? He was secretly vigilant, and a feeling of wariness could not help but arise in his heart. Chuyi's eyes stared sharply at Cao Lexuan, as if he wanted to see the secret in her heart through her eyes. Who are you? Ordinary women don't have such strength. He was confused and curious, and was shocked that Cao Lexuan had such great strength. Cao Lexuan smiled slightly. Her voice was as sweet and moving as a clear spring, as if it contained a hint of mysterious magic. She said softly, oh, they are people from the Association of Superpowers. I offended them, so they hunted me down. Chuyi's curiosity was aroused, and he couldn't wait to ask, Superpower Association. How did you offend them? He opened his eyes wide, looking forward to Cao Lexuan's answer. Cao Lexuan sighed helplessly, with a trace of pain and helplessness in her eyes. She said softly, okay, let me tell you, I discovered a huge secret of the Association of Superpowers. Chuyi's heartbeat accelerated, and he couldn't suppress his curiosity. He stared closely into Cao Lexuan's eyes, looking forward to her answer. He continued to ask, what a big secret. What kind of secret is it that is enough for the Superpower Association to send rank 5 superpowers to chase her? Kill you. His voice was full of doubts, and he was full of curiosity about the secret. Cao Lexuan said. Chuyi, you are a smart person. I believe you can understand the complexity of this. Cao Lexuan nodded gently. She smiled slightly, with a hint of perseverance on her delicate face. The matter started a year ago. At that time I stumbled upon a secret laboratory where unknown experiments were being conducted. These experiments involve the genetic modification of humans and the development of superpowers, and these experiments are jointly coordinated by the Superpowers Association and the Japanese Heavenly Sovereign Association. Her eyes suddenly became a little red, and she seemed to have sworn hatred. They conducted cruel and inhumane experiments on us Dragon Kingdom people, which was shocking. Chuyi frowned, his eyes locked forward, with a hint of anxiety in his tone. Dragon Kingdom's Superpower Association and Japan's Heavenly Sovereign Association. These two forces have actually joined forces. His fingers clenched unconsciously, obviously taking this news very seriously. Don't you think this news is huge? This is an unprecedented cooperation. Cao Lexuan stared at Chuyi intently, with a hint of surprise in her tone. Why should you be surprised? It's not surprising that this kind of thing happened in the Association of Superpowers. Chuyi sneered, with a trace of disdain on his face, and his tone revealed his distrust of the Association of Superpowers. Brother Chu, I have already stored 2 rank 4 crystal cores. Ha ha. At this time, the fat man Qin Tianju walked over with heavy steps, holding a delicate small box in his hand, his face filled with joy. Very good, let's keep going. Xiaobai, come out. Chu Yi nodded, with a happy face. His voice was full of excitement and expectation, and he called his strange beast companions forward, come out, come on. Xiaobai. Xiaobai raised his head and roared, jumped out from behind the stone slab. His figure was majestic and powerful, his fur was as white as snow, shining with cold light. The sun shone on Xiaobai's body, like thousands of rays of light were poured into it, making people feel I can't help but be fascinated by it. Is this the rank 2 white tiger beast? Cao Lexuan thought in her mind. She looked at Xiaobai dumbfounded, and an extremely shocking emotion surged in her heart. It was incredible that she could subdue the beast. Chu Yi jumped up, jumped on Xiaobai's back, and said to Cao Lexuan, please help yourself, we are leaving, the Japanese kingdom heavenly sovereign will gather, I will destroy them. Cao Lexuan's heart skipped a beat. She had never seen such an arrogant person before. This shocking feeling made her shudder. She couldn't help but think of Chu Yi's words, they wanted to destroy the Japanese heavenly sovereign society. What kind of courage and determination this showed. Cao Lexuan began to think about her life. The ordinariness and comfort she once had seemed to become insignificant. She longed to pursue that unattainable dream like Chu Yi. Do you really want to destroy the heavenly sovereign society? Just as Chu Yi and Qin Tianju were gradually walking away, Cao Lexuan suddenly stopped them, her voice trembling, do you know how strong heavenly sovereign will be? Do you know where could the heavenly sovereign be? Do you know how difficult it would be to destroy the heavenly sovereign? Ah ha ha ha, everything in the world is not difficult. I, Chu Yi, will do the most difficult thing once I go to this world. Chu Yi's voice not only came from a distance, but was also full of deep emotions. The echo is like an endless string of bells slowly rippling in the air. Chu Yi's voice contained firm belief and incomparable power, and his words seemed to be a powerful energy injected deep into Cao Lexuan's heart. When Cao Lexuan heard this, she froze on the spot with a dull look on her face. Her heart was greatly shocked and her thoughts were in a mess. However, with Chu Yi's encouragement, her eyes gradually became firm. Stand up. When the fat man heard Chu Yi's words, he instantly felt a rush of passionate passion rushing into his heart. He couldn't help but admired. Brother Chu, how did you develop the ability to speak with echo? You're so handsome. You're so handsome. Our target is Yanjing City. I heard that it is the most powerful city in the Dragon Kingdom and has many masters. Chu Yi's eyes were excited and he said firmly, I also want to see the strong men there with my own eyes. You or not, have you ever stayed in Yanjing City? Tell me about the situation there. I haven't been back for several years, so Yanjing City is just like that. A bunch of guys who look down on others. Fatty fell into memories, and he slowly said, however, there are indeed many strong people there, and there are often the beast tide breaks out, and there are rank 8 superpowers there, and they are also summoning superpowers. There is actually a rank 8 superpower, have you seen it? Chu Yi asked in surprise. Of course I have seen it. She was in the news. She is a famous figure in Yanjing City. Fatty's expression instantly became excited and he said excitedly, Shengguan Lingwei, at only 30 years old, has reached rank 8, level of the person. The fat man almost drooled. He swallowed and continued. Besides, she is fair, rich and beautiful, and is the daughter of the Shengguan family. Chu Yi frowned, his eyes revealing a hint of confusion and curiosity. He asked softly, why, do you have special feelings for Guanling Wei? Brother Chu, what do you think? Who among the men in Yanjing City can resist Guanling Wei's charm? The fat man's eyes flashed with desire, and a smirk appeared at the corner of his mouth. Chu Yi pondered for a moment, and his brows wrinkled slightly, revealing his inner conflict. He gradually turned his eyes and continued to ask, so, are there any other powerful people in Yanjing City who are comparable to Guanling Wei? The fat man's eyes flickered, and he felt a little pressure under Chu Yi's gaze. He took a deep breath and replied solemnly, of course, there are many strong people in Yanjing City, but compared with Shengguan Lingwei, their light seems dim. Yanjing City is indeed a place where strong people gather. Chu Yi's eyes flashed, revealing his inner shock. His voice trembled slightly, full of awe. Shengguan Lingwei can be so unique in the world, it shows that the strength is so powerful. Fat man, what's your expression? Are you afraid to go back to Yanjing? Chu Yi frowned slightly as he looked at the fat man's tired look. The fat man looked like he couldn't walk. Sweat had soaked his entire clothes. He said feebly, "Brother Chu, why do we have to walk there? Can't we go back to Nanchang and take a plane? The reason for crossing the wasteland is to enhance your strength and improve your realm." Chu Yi walked up to Fatty, patted his shoulder gently, and said solemnly, "Fatty, don't rely on external forces for everything. You can only do it through yourself. Only by working hard can you become a truly strong person." The fat man looked like he had a weak kidney, and said breathlessly, "I'm so tired that I'm dying. Can you take a rest, Brother Chu?" He was leaning against a tree, breathing with his eyes half closed. Chu Yi saw his half-dead look, so he sat down helplessly. Chu Yi's eyes gradually became deeper, and there was a hint of doubt and confusion in his eyes when he looked at the fat man. "Fat man, do you want to avenge your parents?" Chu Yi said calmly. "Of course I do." The fat man raised his head, his eyes showing a firm light. "Want to take revenge? You can still lie here so lazily without taking any action." Chu Yi stared at the fat man fiercely, his tone full of hatred that iron cannot be transformed into steel. "As a son of man, you shouldn't lie here. As a man, you should not lie here. This world will not show mercy to you. If you dare not act, you will be destined to be like this for the rest of your life, being looked down upon and stepped on by others." Chu Yi's chest burned with anger, and his eyes revealed his dissatisfaction with the fat man. His voice was full of authority and sarcasm. "Do you want to be weak or strong?" After the fat man listened to Chu Yi's words, his tired body was instantly filled with strength, as if he was inspired by a powerful force. "I want to be strong. I want to be as strong as the great saint of Kishan." Fatty's voice echoed, conveying a power that could not be ignored, full of determination. Chu Yi was stunned. He didn't expect the fat man to answer so firmly. Suddenly, he seemed to have thought of something and said it without thinking. "Do you want to be suppressed for 500 years? Chu Yi's words seemed like a heavy blow, directly hitting the weakest part of Fatty's heart. "No, I don't want to be suppressed for 500 years. Besides, there seems to be no Tathagata Buddha in this world, right?" The fat man was stunned for a moment, his lips trembling slightly. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.